Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Presented by Carolina Lightweight. Come get with us. When the action begins in the studio, our referees for tonight's event are Elgato Azul and Carolina Real Streamers. For the viewers in attendance and Facebook and YouTube users around the world, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Live from the Elgato Azul TV studio in Louisville, Texas, it's time! What's up, slime lovers? I'm your host, Chris, a.k.a. Elgato Azul. My partner in slime over here, Mr. Jamie Dunn, Carolina Lightweights.
What's up, y'all?
Welcome to the Slime Show, baby. Oh, we ain't even live yet. It says error.
What? I see us live over here on YouTube.
All right. Well, my deal said error.
Guys, do y'all see us?
What's up, slime lovers? I'm your host, Chris, a.k.a. Elgato Azul. My partner in slime, Mr. Jamie Dunn, Carolina Lightweights.
Yes,
Welcome
sir.
to the Slime Show.
Take two. Action.
How's everybody doing tonight? We got 17 in the house. So welcome, everybody. We're going to start the top of the show by raffling off our Operation Bets with Nets fundraiser raffles.
Oh, man. Excited.
Let me go over here onto Facebook and share this thing out to Carolina Lightweights real quick.
Excited.
How are you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm doing good, brother. Very blessed. Man, we've had another busy week. Turning out some new products this week. Turning out lots of the brand new. Chris, I want to make sure we say this, guys. For everyone that doesn't know, Carolina Lightweights is 100% lead from 1 ounce all the way to 10 ounce, guys. As they say, ain't no rust happening around here.
Yee-hoo, baby.
There you go, right there too, brother.
I want to say thanks, Jamie. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks, Rebecca. I think it's cool. Some people might not. I really appreciate it, man. So, y'all want some luck with every cast? Strap you on a Elgato Azul 2-ounce signature Carolina Lightweight. Go break some PBs, baby.
That's it, man. But yeah, we've been excited, man. We got a lot of new things happening. We got a lot of stuff still coming. And yes, I just saw it in chat, guys. We now offer another style of drifting weight. Trying to give y'all everything you need all in a one-stop and shop, guys. We got these also from 2 ounce to 4 ounce. So there you go, guys.
We got 25 folks in here. So,
and there's your green one right there.
26. There's the signature Elgato Azul PB record breaker.
There you go, man. There you go. Man, I'm excited.
Rich Cigara from Operation Bets with Nets says, "What's up? What's up, Richie?" We got Shitty Fisherman. Let's make this boat happen, y'all. That's what we're trying to do, buddy. Alex, Texas Fishing. Welcome in, bro. Moving on down. We got Bennett Tips Catfishing. Patrick Gilliland. Welcome in, Patrick. He's been throwing down. So is Shitty Fisherman, man. You guys are freaking generous on all this stuff. I appreciate it. I know Rich appreciates it. We're going to make this, we're going to get this boat outfitted damn near with just this raffle and these donations. So,
man, that's exciting, Chris.
Richard
it really
Green,
is, man.
He's donated $1,000 plus a bunch of swag. Appreciate you, Richard. We got Eagle Eyes Tienda. Juan's been in on damn near half these raffles. His wife's probably pissed. We got Bruce Journey. Bill's been in on some of these raffles. He donated. Juan donated. Man, we got some generous family, slime family, some generous dudes. We got Jimmy Moore, new channel member. Yeehaw, baby.
Welcome in, my friend.
Welcome to the slime family, bro. Moving on down, we've got Micah Burkhart, King of Tennessee. He's a donator. Appreciate you, Micah. We've been raffling off quite a few of your new signature 2.0 rods. Those seem to be a hot item.
And I can tell you too, Chris, his signature weights, man, they have been flying out also, brother.
Oh, good.
Yes, sir. They really have.
We got my boy from Texas, Matthew Mosley. Welcome in, Matt. Donated a trip. Pretty much everybody in here. So, setting hooks and crossing eyes. Welcome in, bro. Moving on down, Smoky Mountain Catfishing. Welcome in, buddy. We got the Police Chief James Brandon. Welcome in, James. We've got Kevin Gabbert. Welcome in, Kevin. Hooked on Kermit. Welcome in, Kermit. Dan Weldon. Dan's a big winner. Also put in on some of these raffles. I think he won. Seemed like he might have won the first micro rod. So, congrats, Dan. No. I think he won a Patriot carbine. I don't know. We've given away so much
Hey,
stuff.
you've done so many, man. Can't keep up with it, brother.
We're on 22 raffles. We got 22 raffles at this point. We got Kevin G. Welcome in, Kevin. We got Kevin Walters, our partner over at Monster Cat. Welcome in, Kevin.
Welcome, brother. Welcome, brother.
We got the pots cooking with Carolina Lake Weights and Monster Cat sprinkling those magic ingredients together.
I tell you what, man, guys, if y'all haven't got you one of his shirts, head on over and grab you a Monster Cat catfishing shirt, man. Those things look awesome. We appreciate it.
Kevin G, welcome. Justin Rancier, welcome, bro. Danimals Creation Adventures. Dan, it's almost our time again, buddy. Michael Perdue, another guy that donated a trip. Man, we got some generous folks rolling with us. Dimitri Lockett, one of my slime brothers. Tasha Thomas. Welcome in, Tasha, one of our Operation Vets with Nets captains. And that is it. So,
wow. Man, we got some good.
I got to catch the breath.
Chris, do you have an echo on your side, brother?
I don't.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. I think mine just went away because it was echoing there for a second. Wow, man. We got a lot of great people in here, man. And like you said, a lot of generous people that's really pitched in to help with the new wheelchair boat, man. That's awesome, brother.
Yeah, let's give away some stuff.
Oh, man.
Let me find these things because I got 22 of them going. So let me roll through here. We're going to do 3. We're spinning the wheel 3 times tonight. We got raffle 17, which is got 17 spots. It's for a Mica 2.0 rod, a Mad Catz reel, matching reel, a spool of reaction braid, and a spool of reaction mono.
That's awesome.
And that's number 17. Let me pull it up here, ladies and gentlemen.
And guys, I wish everybody luck on the wheel tonight.
$18, $17. Here we go. So here's what we're giving away, guys. Mica 2.0 rod. Beautiful rod. Giving away a Mad Catz Exalt reel. 2 spools of reaction tackle, one spool of 80-pound braid, 1 spool of 30-pound monofilament. We got 17 spots. We're going to be spinning the wheel. So
there we go. Good luck, everybody.
Put 17 numbers in here. All right. Can y'all see the wheel? Jamie, can you see the wheel?
I got it, brother. I can see it.
Here we go. Good luck, players. And the winner is lucky number 17, my boy, Jeff Martin.
Look at there. Look at there.
You lucky son of a gun. You got you a Micah 2.0. Let me pull the other screen back up here.
Congratulations, brother.
That's going to be Jeff Martin, number 17. Winner, chicken dinner. Congratulations, bro. Let me write that one down. Or not, because I don't have a pen. I'll try to remember that. So, raffle number 2 is going to be raffle number 18. We got 16 spots. It's for a Mad Catz VIP Matrix Nano Rod, a Mad Catz reel, and a roll of 80-pound reaction braid and a 30-pound roll of reaction mono.
Hey, guys, appreciate y'all writing that down in the chat for Chris right there, man. Appreciate that, guys.
So there we go. We got the VIP Matrix Nano, Mad Catz Exalt Reel, 2 rolls of reaction tackle line, 80-pound braid, 30-pound monofilament. We got 16 spots. This is raffle number 18. $16 spots. Good luck, players.
Good luck, everybody.
And the winner is lucky number 4. That is Chris Wheeler. He's already won one. That lucky son of a gun. Holy crap.
Congratulations, Chris.
All right. So I don't see Chris in here, but let me pull that up so everybody sees it. Chris Wheeler, lucky number 4. Chris Wheeler. Go buy you a lottery ticket, you lucky son of a gun. That is for the brand new Mad Catz VIP Matrix Nano technology. It's a new type of technology for rods. Guys that I've heard that are using it say it's a phenomenal rod. Super sensitive, extremely strong backbone, supposed to be real durable. So that reel to match it, it's going to be black on black on black, murdered out. I don't know what color the braid is. I've got the box of braid. I haven't seen what the braid is. If it doesn't match, you can always go get your own braid and throw that braid mono on a different line, different reel. So congrats, Chris. Congrats, buddy. Chris Wheeler, the lucky kid of the night. All right. Raffle number 21. This is for 15 spots. This is for a Mad Catz Micah 2.0 rod, another reel, same reels. We got giving away 3 of these reels tonight, and more reaction line and braid. So, a lot of these were donated by Paul Story, and then reaction fishing Tackle also donated the line. So appreciate everybody who's Joel Moots. It was his sponsor. He's the one that made it happen. So thanks, Joel, and thanks, Paul. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Reaction Tackle. Appreciate everybody donating. Raffle number 21. Let's move on down. Let's see here. We still have raffles open. We got some guide trips open. We got a few product ones that are open. I think we got to hook 'em big rods. It's got some rods open. They're really cool looking rods. Chris Wheeler, he got his sponsors to donate those. And then I can't remember what else, but I think maybe the Dragon Master package is gone. Atco Fishing, it's Just Dragging bait board, and a Mid-Atlantic South 50 or a Mid-Atlantic Catfishing $50 gift certificate. I think it's only halfway sold. So you guys come over to my Facebook page, get in on these raffles. At the very least, you're donating to an awesome cause, and you might win something cool. So a lot of our teammates are getting in on these, and they got sponsors that are so this one is for a signed Micah rod. It's the 2.0, his new rod, his new state record rod, Mad Cats. I like that handle. It's the Positrack handle. It's cool, man.
It looks, I mean, that rod is jam up, brother.
They knocked it out of the park, dude.
They did.
Another Exalt reel to match it.
Oh, your string went
and Reaction Tackle, braid and mono. We got 15 spots. Let's bring up the wheel. Can everybody see the wheel?
Yes, sir.
I screwed that up last week, and I actually won one, but I went ahead and gave it to the – I went ahead and gave it away because I didn't – man, oops. All right.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck, players. And the winner is lucky number 15. 15, Michael Purdue.
Congratulations, brother.
One of my Texas boys. So let's see here. Let me take this off the screen. Number 15 is Michael Purdue. Winner, chicken dinner.
Man, that's an awesome way to open up a show, ain't it, Chris?
Yeah.
It don't get no better than that.
Giving away $1,000 worth of crap.
Oh, man. It does not get no better than that, guys. That just goes to show, man, all the love, all the support out there, man. I know Operation Vets with Nets is one heck of an organization, and we love all you guys for everything y'all doing, that's for sure. Our vets, I know they've got to be smiling, man, because this is excellent.
I agree. I'm honored to be a part of the organization. I like all the brotherhood that's going on. Rich is a great guy. It's cool to be able to help something greater than yourself. So anybody that's feeling inspired that wants to go either donate money, donate your time. It's not just captains. We need people to help do fundraising. We need people to help man booths at events. We need boots on the ground that'll go to VAs and put up flyers and hand out, information so that we can recruit more veterans to get on the water. So OperationVetsWithNets.org. If you want to go over there, become a captain, you can. There's a request form to fill out. I mean, I don't know I don't really know what's involved with it, but it's not a whole lot. If you want to donate money, there's a link over there to donate directly to the organization. If you want to donate a product for our raffle, because we're still getting stuff damn near every day. People donating. It's like, man, can we end this raffle stuff?
I tell you, man, Chris, it's like Christmas all over, man. It seems like the month everything keeps giving and giving. I mean, guys, if there's any spots left, man, like Chris was saying earlier, go on over there, support Operation Vets with Nets, get on one of those spots, and let's try to get all this cool stuff given away, and let's continue having the fun, because I can tell you, it's for a good cause.
I agree. So, well, tonight, congratulations, everybody. Thanks, everybody that donated. Awesome. Really cool to be part of something, part of so many great people that are so generous, willing to offer up products, willing to donate, willing to take part in these raffles. Without all you guys, we couldn't do it. And right now we're sitting at a little over $6,000 raised. We got about 2,000 more to go. Our goal was 8,000. I wasn't even, that was what we were hoping for. I didn't think we would actually hit it. We got a really good chance of hitting it. We got about $2,000 worth of more raffles to do. And we've got probably $1,000 in our raffles now that aren't filled. So I don't know if we'll fill all those, but we're going to do whatever we can. And come September 1st, we're going to spin the wheel on all these, whether they're sold off or not. So,
guys, I know we can get them all filled up, man. I know if we all get together, I know we can fill them all up, and definitely it's for a good cause, guys.
Kevin G says he's not won yet, but to know that the money is going to help out the fellow vets is what it's all about. Ed Jenkins is in touch with him, and he's on board to help out any way he can. That's what we need.
That's it. That's awesome, man.
He's got boots. Well, Bruce, you're a good supporter. There's more than one way to help the organization. So really, we need recruiters to recruit more veterans to the organization so that we can take them out on trips.
Yeah. There's all kinds of things, man, that people can help out with. And for sure, there's plenty of positions.
Yep. So still in you. We're doing all the raffles through my Facebook page. If you'll go over to Chris Gamble on Facebook, I've got 22 raffles. We've probably gone through 10 or 12 of them so far. So we got 10 raffles that we have not done yet. Some of them are open. Some of them we haven't even started. So get in on it, man. It's a great cause. What's up, Evan? Welcome in, bro. All right. So what are we talking about tonight, Jamie?
Wind.
Giving.
Wind. Something we all love to have not enough of, or we got too much of it. And like we were talking about earlier, man, don't always believe what the apps are telling you guys. So we're going to go into some of the details about that also. But we're going to talk about how important a lot of the planning your trips with the wind, different locations, different tactics, and everything like that. So we're going to break that down for you a little bit tonight. And if y'all have any questions also, guys, we'll definitely try to answer them to our best of our knowledge. And let's have a great show, man. It's starting out with a bang, brother.
Yes, sir. So, John, we're in the process of coming out with a media packet for people that want to be the boots on the ground, that are recruiting, taking stuff to the VAs, and taking places that will allow you to post up a flyer. The fishing, the tackle shops and the bait shops and stuff like that. So we're putting together some of those, and we have some of the info right now, but we're going to be putting together packets for guys just like you that want to go out and do some boots on the ground type recruiting. So that's coming. If you'll get a hold of me, John, after the show or tomorrow or something, I can make sure we get you some information sent to you that you can go take to these VA type places to just raise awareness about the organization. But a lot of it's just having the flyer out there that so people can look and read it themselves and decide, hey, that sounds like something that might be something I'd like to do. And so
yeah, John's a real good fella, man. And I tell you what, he does a lot for local here also. So he's a real good fella, man. John's a good guy, and I know he can definitely help out in a lot of different ways.
Rich said he's working on all that stuff. So I talked with Rich almost every day. So we had talked about a week ago. So we need a media packet for guys that, instead of all these captains and then relying on a captain to have to download a flyer and then go to the VA. A lot of people are more, that's just right, more up their alley. Our captains are fishermen, they want to help and give back through their fishing. Some people aren't, able to do that, and they want to give back in another type of way. So I think that's going to be really cool when Rich has that. And he's got some other stuff in the works too for people that are wanting to go to these types of events and stuff and be able to set up a booth and talk with people face to face about the organization. So we'll announce all that as it comes on down the pike. But tonight we're talking about the wind. Jamie, let's say you got a big trip you're excited about going on. Okay, it's not just your regular, I'm going fishing this weekend down at my fishing hole. It's I'm going to this tournament, or I'm going to travel to Santee Cooper.
Yep.
I know you're just like me. You're looking about a week out. You start looking at the weather, and as the trip gets closer, you're checking every day. What are you looking for at the wind, and like how far out are you really starting to plan for the wind?
I tell you, man, I start like you said, man. I'll look about a week out. I'll start planning. Okay, well, the wind's supposed to be this. I'll start looking at it and going, okay, well, I know I want to probably fish this area that's going to be good for that sort of wind. Well, the next day, I'll keep checking it.
So how often is bye, Jamie. So one thing about the damn weather forecast is there ain't no way they can pick the weather a whole week out. It is never right. So, but I do start looking about a week out, and I'll start looking at my weather apps the weekend. As soon as I get home from my fishing trip the weekend before, I'm getting on there. I'm looking at wind direction. I'm looking at where the fronts are coming. I'm starting to figure out what the wind speed's going to be, where I think the fish are going to be. Bruce says that's exactly what I do. So that's really the first thing I do before I start looking at lake maps or anything like that. I've got a pretty good idea where fish are most of the year in a certain section of the lake, just based off of seasonal migration and bait patterns. But then to break it down, it's for lake guys, it's all about weather and wind. So welcome back, Jamie.
I don't know what happened, brother. I went in the middle of the conversation and it just went dead on me.
You just blanked out.
But yeah, man, like you were just saying, I was looking at on the other computer as I was trying to get in. The day before, I pretty well get my plan in place. I know exactly what my plan is, and I stick to that, that A game. And I will tell you, I have showed up at the lake. The A game, you can throw it out the window. The app was wrong. Everything is totally different. The winds are blowing 20 more miles an hour, or the wind ain't blowing at all. So then you got to go to plan B, plan C, all that good stuff. But, normally, like I said, the day before, I'll have my plan in place, and I'll know exactly what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, I would say this past year, I don't know that the weatherman was right one time when I went to the lake.
Yeah.
He was just never right. He'd say the wind was going to be terrible, and everybody'd say, I ain't fishing. I go to the lake, it would be awesome. It'd be perfect, man. It'd be like 15-mile-an-hour wind, and we just light them up. And then they would say, oh, it's going to be 12 to 14-mile-an-hour wind, and I get there, and it's 2. And we never had wind the whole day. I'm like, where's the 14-mile-an-hour perfect wind that you freaking forecasted, weatherman?
And I will tell you, the wind actually almost cost me to lose my boat in Santee Cooper. Out there, beautiful, and all of a sudden, bam, man, it changed around. No storm, but the wind just picked up, started white capping, and it almost cost me a boat. So you never know sometimes what's going to happen.
Says easiest job in the world is a meteorologist. Yeah, I mean, you basically just take a coin to work, and before you get on air, you flip the coin and say, all right, there's the weather. So it's a 50% chance whether I'm right or not. And,
when you pull up at the boat landing, the first thing you do is you look up at the American flag up on the pole, and you say, okay, this is what we're going to be dealing with right now.
That's exactly why I have a flag on my boat. Guys are like, you got that flag? What do you got the flag for? I'm like, I drag, man. I like to know exactly how the wind's blowing, if it's changing. You can see the waves and all that, but there's that flag will tell you exactly your lines when dragging. So that's really the reason why I fly those flags. And it helps. It freaking helps having those flags. I can guarantee you it helps. Yeah. And so when you're deciding, let's say you've got a southeast wind, what does that pretty much tell you where you think the fish are going to be that day? And does it help you with patterns? Like
it definitely helps me with
telling you.
It definitely is going to help me where I think they're going to be. For one, it's definitely going to help me to go in on that certain part of that lake and say, okay, well, I know that they're going to be here because I've done this wind before. It's always worked. The weather situation is almost the same, and I know where they're going to be pretty much on that style of wind. So I know what drift I'm going to do and everything. So, it's something that even like on a north wind, I do the same thing. I know exactly what I'm going to be doing on a north wind compared to what I might be doing on an east wind.
Yeah. Does it change from throughout the year or
Yeah. I mean,
water's warmer, they're willing to move further distances, right?
That's it. That's it. So you got to go
and get a big wind change. They're not going to just flip flop from one end of the lake all the way to the next.
No. Yeah, within 2 to 3 days of having that same wind, a certain situation, you like, okay, I'm going to hone in because I know that they're going to be in that part of the lake. And with a 3-day wind exactly the same way, it's going to give you even more an idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best scenario a cat fisherman can ask for. 3 days of wind. I always tell guys like, man, we got north wind. I'm like, it's the 3rd day of north wind. Trust me, we're about to freaking light them up, bro.
That's it. That's it.
I don't care if it's 3 days of north, south. Now, you're usually not going to have 3 days of west wind, but we've had 3 days of east wind. And I mean, I'd say any consistent wind, it's going to be hammer time.
That's it. I mean, the worst part of the scenario is if you got one day that's wind this way, next day winds this way. It just all over the place.
4 wind changes on the same day.
That's it. That's just like night when we done our live. We were fishing. You had 4 or 5 different wind changes.
I think we went on live and I said, guys, we got 4 wind changes in the next 2 hours forecast.
Yep.
We may not catch a single fish. If we're going to catch one, we need to do it right now. And the rod, it's like, whoosh, rod went down. And we caught fish, but, he and you got wind changes, that's one of the things that usually really screws up your bite, because it immediately changes your pattern. If they're orienting to a certain part of the lake, usually it's wind oriented, and if it flip-flops, the fish will stop almost instantly doing what they were doing and start moving towards a different pattern. That doesn't mean they're just going to completely shut down. Sometimes it'll shut them down, but sometimes it just makes them make a move, and you got to make an adjustment. So,
and that's just like everybody's heard that saying, March winds. Different times of the season, the wintertime, the wind is going to pretty much be this way on the lake. It's going to, honestly, where to hone in on the fishing during the wintertime. Same way fall, summer, and spring. All those winds are going to start patterning themselves year after year. Now where the wind starts changing is when you start having certain fronts coming into different, coming down. Okay, wintertime
swings.
That's it.
Accompanied with a big wind change is usually a killer for your bite.
That's it.
Cut them down. Beth says 15 to 20 mile an hour is the sweet spot for him. I got to agree. That's go time, man. I mean, that's hammerfest. It's almost a guarantee. If you got 15 to 20 mile an hour south wind and you ain't catching fish, it's you. Don't blame it on anything else. Because 99.9% of the time, fish are biting with that wind. You just got to go find the right group. It might not be every group biting real good, but there are generally always going to be fish biting with wind out of the south. Now, wind out of the north, right when you get a big wind change out of the north, it can change things. But you can still catch fish. It just makes them move almost instantly. They start moving. Right as you're getting a wind change, a lot of times they'll move to a piece of structure and they'll go sit on it. And, you have to target that specific piece of structure with freaking precision, because if you're not locked onto it, you won't even see hardly a fish on your graph. You can go all over the lake, not even see a fish. You go to that certain piece of structure that they like, and they're lined up on that thing. So
that's it. And that's like Mr. Billy, Billy was saying, no wind, no fish, man. That has proven this point so many times. I have been on a lake that's completely glass, bluebird skies, no wind, and I can tell you, brother, you'll beat yourself to death trying to find a fish. I mean, it's just
always the guys are like, man, there ain't no wind. They're like, what are we gonna do? I was like, we're gonna catch fish. We're just gonna have to do it differently.
It.
I go to when the wind dies, I move to structure. I'm going to because fish, the ones that are out there on the flats, they pretty much shut down. But you can still find fish that are laying on structure. If you can find fish on structure, that's ambush structure. They're there for a reason. Sometimes they're there for refuge, but there's just something programmed in them when they're sitting on that piece of ambush structure and something comes to them, they're more willing to bite it. So when they get out, always move to that ambush structure to increase your odds.
I can tell you that's what you get. Know your lake, man. Know where that structure is, just for situations like that, because that's where the fishermen, that's where you start putting your mind to it. That's when you go to work and start beating on that graph.
15 years ago, I just give up. Say, the fish just ain't. They're just fish just ain't biting.
Yeah. Well,
we might as well just go home. They just ain't biting.
I can tell you,
I get off the lake and my buddy had just lit them up. And I'm like, so I started paying attention on days like that, and move to structure, move to ledges. If it's in the wintertime, get right on the channel, and I mean on it. If you move over 75 yards, you ain't getting nothing. But if you can get on that piece of ambush structure or a highway where you think they might be transitioning from one spot to the next, you can still do well. Not just do well, you can kick some serious ass fishing like that. It's just smaller groups, and you got to be really pinpointed with your presentation on where you're putting your bait. So,
and I tell you, if you got a lot of lakes or something like that that's off of the main lake and stuff, pay attention to those points. Those, those normally pay off real good for certain times with the wind and stuff. That can blow some of that bait into the backside of some of those creeks and stuff, and it can pay off a lot. So definitely, drag them in, drag them out for sure on those days that you have that.
Matt said he can confirm a 40-yard move lands his PB catfish.
Yeah.
And, you can be out marking fish and they're not fired up. They're just locked up. And then you can go move over to the windblown ledge that's on a rocky shoreline and mark a much smaller group, but they're just fired up and you can hammer them. I mean, just light them up. Or when Jamie talked about that north front hitting. So let's say, we've had a show on this before, and it's funny because I said, a lot of times in the fall when the lake turns over, that first major north front that you have, okay, when the lake turns over, you're going to see a lot of fish up shallow. They're going to be moved because that water is the first that's cooling off, and that's kind of what's creating that turnover. So it starts turning over in that shallow water first. It also finishes turning over in that shallow water first. So as that front hits on that first day, fish freak out. They're like up shallow and they're like, what the hell? This cold front's blowing in. And they rush as fast as they can to the very first transition. And if you can find the first transition, which is usually what I hit, it's a ledge.
Yeah.
That first ledge out of shallow water, you will find it is almost a 100% guarantee it will be lined up with big fish. So you maybe have 4,000 acres in the north end of a lake. Every big fish, when that front hits, will rush to that first transition, and they'll line up on that transition. It looks like freaking stacked cordwood on that thing of big fish. And you're like, holy crap, every big fish in this section is laying on this ledge. They don't all bite, but if you got 200 of them laying on this ledge, you can pull 5 or 6 big ones off of it.
And Chris, that goes to show you how sensitive, man, and how smart these fish are too. They've got what I call these radars, man. They can pick up on certain weather changes.
Yeah.
Quick. I'm talking about quick before we even realize it ourselves.
So if there's a weather change coming, fish know beforehand. And a lot of times if it's a major one, they will start moving before. So you're like in those situations, I'm usually fishing the highways. I'm trying to catch them as they're moving. And, they're moving up the lake. I'm bringing it as they're moving up. I'm bringing it this way. Yeah. And that's a great way to catch them too. So,
and we were talking, Chris, because I'm going to head down. I believe I'm going to go fish the tournament down in Santee, the coffee can tournament this Saturday. We were talking before the show. I was looking at one app trying to plan, what the wind's going to be. Was talking to you about a different app. The difference in the apps, how much difference there is in the two.
There are major differences in weather apps, and you'll notice that a lot of them will say, okay, today the weather is going to be 5 to 15 mile an hour. Well, they're giving you the whole day with one. They're giving you one number, one metric for an entire day. How that doesn't help a fisherman because it may only be 15 minutes of 14 mile an hour wind. The rest of the day, it's 2-3 wind changes and 3 mile an hour wind and wind out of the north for 2 hours, wind out of the east, and wind out of the south, and then one more wind change. It's like, damn, weatherman was wrong. But there are other weather apps that are a little more accurate, like Weather Underground. It'll give you an hourly deal and it goes off of weather stations that are in your area. So the algorithm is there's way more numbers going into their algorithm than, say, the National Weather Service, who says it's going to be 5 to 15 mile an hour wind out of the southeast today. And it's like,
I can almost tell you, man, you can take the Weather Channel, nothing against the Weather Channel. Let me just say that you can almost take that and throw it out the window because honestly, the app that you were saying is pretty spot on. You know, you got a couple other good apps out there. I believe it's the Windy app or something that's pretty good. So you got some real good apps out there. So when you go to look these things up, guys, you know, definitely hone in on and look at some of the, you know, you'll hear some chats, what people are talking about certain apps. Pay attention to that so you can get the best apps, you know, that there is out there.
Yeah, and you can get your game plan ready.
Yeah.
I already know what you're going to do when the wind changes. So, okay, all right, we got this wind change, and it's supposed to be, we're supposed to start the day with decent wind, and it's southeast wind. Well, you better get your ass on the lake and be ready to fish and get your fishing in. And then know that, okay, around noon, we get a major wind change. It's going to start blowing out of the east. And usually when you get these front type deals, you may get east wind for 30, 45 minutes. And then it starts blowing out of the northeast and then the north, then the northwest. It just kind of moves around you, and then the wind dies. A lot of times it just cracks out. So,
I can almost tell you the best thing to do, and I've done it myself. It took me a little bit of survey and marker because I didn't have a flag. Put it up on top of my boat. Paid attention to that as the day went along, and you could actually see that survey and marker changing during the day, certain directions and stuff, because the wind was changing so much. Yeah. But when you get to that boat landing, look up at one of the flagpoles if they've got one at that boat landing. Yeah. That's going to tell you right then and there kind of what you need to start with.
Yeah, so 182Q says weather apps suck in general. I would agree.
Yeah,
weather underground is probably the best. My favorite because it's tapped into local weather stations. So there's stations at every school. There's stations at banks. There's stations at City Hall. There's stations at the marina. And all of those numbers get equated into their algorithm and tells you, okay, there's wind here. It's coming this way. They can know that it's 30 mile an hour wind blowing this way. It'll take 2 hours to get here. They know that, 3 hours later, the wind's going to be this over here. It's more accurate. Is it perfect? No, it's none of them are perfect. That's for damn sure. But that's the one that I use. It's usually fairly accurate. It's really accurate the day of, but really 3 days out, it's not going to be super accurate. You get a decent idea about 3 days out of what your weather is going to be. If there's a front hitting, it's usually, if they say it's going to hit in 3 days, generally it hits in 3 days. And those are the major things that you're going to be trying to compute into your fishing algorithm for your day. Knowing, okay, we got a north wind, or let's say you got a no wind day. You don't want to just spend 2 hours looking for fish out on the flats if you know you're not going to have any wind. Just go straight to the structure. Start scanning the structure that you think the depths are going to be in, and spend your time smart. Because graphing for big fish, if you're going to be really, you're going to have a super high success rate catching big fish, the graph's a big part of it. I know a lot of guys say, I don't graph, I don't ever see the fish that we graph. I see all the fish that we catch. Most, I won't say all. We see 80% of the fish we catch. And when I'm in an area, I know if there's fish over 50 in the area because I'm marking them on my graph. That's kind of the metric I'm looking for when I'm stopping on a spot. This spot has really big fish. And, over time, you start to know what to look for, where the big ones are, and it increases your success rate for them. So a lot of that is weather oriented. Weather is a big major metric. The wind is a big major metric.
And Chris, not only, now that we're talking about the wind, man, okay, I've got one certain size drift sock. I can open that up or close it, depending on what my wind is. Now, you, for instance, you've got different size drift socks on your boat to coordinate with what wind you have that day.
Yes.
So that's another good tip is, guys, look into a good drift sock that you could do all different scenarios with. Light wind, heavy wind, medium wind. Myself,
that's going to also tell you how your technique that you're going to use. So light wind, You can fish however you want. You can go any direction you want. You can pick any piece of structure. It doesn't have to be lined up with the wind in any type of way. You can, and light wind days, that's when you're doing that. That's when you decide exactly where you want to drag. And if it's a ledge that's lined up this way, you get on that ledge and you drag it that way. But when you got big wind, let's say you got 15-mile-an-hour wind, you ain't dragging into the wind and being very successful. Now, guys say, "Oh, you're dragging the wind." I've done it. I've tried it every freaking way. And one thing that I've found is when I got really good at the graph, probably, I don't know, it's right 10 or 12 years ago, got really honed in on my graph side image. I started noticing when the wind speed gets up to about 12 miles an hour, the fish all line up like freaking cord. They're no longer oriented like this. They are all lined up into the wind. And you can see on your graph perfectly, they are pointed into the wind.
And it's almost like you put them in a stream with fast moving water. They're all facing into that fast moving water, sitting there just doing like that right there.
Yep. And they're waiting for the bait to come to them, and they're orienting into the wind, feeding into the wind. Now, they may not be just sitting there. Some days they are. They're just sitting there waiting for the bait to come to them. But a lot of times they're moving into the wind, feeding. Yep. And if you'll bring it to them, that's the natural presentation. I'd tell guys, if the wind's under 10 mile an hour, I'll go whichever way I think is easiest for me to target what I want to target. The piece of structure, the river channel, the ledge, the hump, the shoreline contour. Those are all things that I'm targeting with light wind. But as the wind picks up, I'm going with the wind every time. And, I've done it both ways. I've turned around and come back just because I was lazy, and we caught 15 fish going this way. We turn around, come back, we catch 2. And eventually you're like, no, I'm just going to motor back out around my line and just go do that same line we just hammered them on. And then
now, Chris, I know down in Texas, you've got several different lakes right there within hour, 2 hours, 3 hours drive right there.
Yeah, what they call the trophy catfish triangle of Texas.
That's it. Do you see your certain winds 2 days prior, day prior? Do you normally say, okay, I'm going to this lake, or I might go to this lake on this wind on this day?
I generally pick my lakes for seasonal migration. And so for one, for the first lake I start targeting for monsters is Lake Texoma. It's on the north border of Texas and Oklahoma. It cools off much faster. And it usually turns over early October. As soon as that lake turns over, it's big fish on. Whereas my lake down here, I'm still, probably almost 100 miles from that lake. Not quite 100, but my lake cools off different. It's 3 weeks later before my lake will start turning on like that. And it's just different. When it turns on, it's very shallow bite. When Texoma turns on, it's 75 feet deep. So I go up there. But I will say this, on a big wind day, Lake Texoma a lot of our lakes are really big, so they get oceanic. But Lake Texoma is a different beast. If you don't have an ocean type boat, when it gets 15 miles an hour wind up there, everybody else, if you got these catfishing specific type boats, they have to leave. They have to go hide. And so it's guys with these giant, Carolina flare boats with, fiberglass type heavier boats that can handle that stuff up in these big water lakes. But yeah, I do definitely target these lakes completely different depending on the wind. Our lakes are just fish really different.
When I used to do a lot of saltwater fishing, I used to look at 1 to 2 foot, seas. I mean, that was perfect, man, to go out to the Gulf Stream and stuff like that. once you get anything over that, it's going to be rough. Once you get
Yeah,
in that 4 to 6 range, I'm staying at home.
Hey, we fished the polar front this past winter when the polar front hit, and all my buddies stayed home. There was only one other guy I knew that fished. It was freaking nasty. And my son was with me, and people were like, I can't believe you got that boy out there. I'm like, well, I mean, we are in Texas. We're used to fishing it, but we were in 4-foot rollers, steady 4-foot rollers with the occasional 6-foot roller. Well, I got a giant freaking heavy bay boat. It's about as big a bay boat as you can get, high-sided bay boat. And we had rollers coming over the back of the transom. Now, if you would have been in a sea arc, you'd have been in big trouble, buddy.
And that leads,
you'd have been swamped. No doubt.
That leads up to my next going into my next thing is, guys, depending on your area, what kind of traveling you going to be doing? When you're looking at,
for one, let me say this, Jamie. Just because what I'm doing out there, if you don't have the boat to do it, don't freaking do it. Because a lot of the water I'm fishing, I'm the only dude out there. But I bought my boat specifically because I don't want to have days. It's really windy in Texas. I don't want to be on the sideline in 25-mile-an-hour wind, which makes most guys either hide in a cove or, not even go to the lake because they're like, hell with that.
I can probably tell you my boat in your area, Chris, probably would not be the ideal boat because
you don't see a lot of those in our big lakes. Smaller lakes, yes, but our big water lakes, they just like you'll never see a guide with one because they have you ain't gonna be making much money if you can't go fish. You know what I mean? Like
that's it.
Those are more for river lakes and smaller lakes and rivers. But
I can even tell you my boat for Santee, you see a lot of them, but you got to be careful on certain days, and even in Santee Cooper with the style boat that I got. And, guys, when you're looking at different boats, different parts of the country, pay attention to that. See what a lot of people in the locals are doing, because like Chris was saying, you don't want to be on the sideline half the year because the wind's going to be certain ways and you didn't buy the right boat.
Yeah, so definitely. If you're fishing big water lakes, don't buy a river boat. If you're fishing a river, don't buy a big water lake boat. I mean, a lot of guys in Texas, we actually fish out of saltwater boats because if you're a cat fisherman, because, otherwise you're sitting out, a lot. And in the winter, if you're fishing big fronts, big wind days, I mean, you need to be out there in the big part of the lake, out in open water. I mean, and, if you're not, for instance, that polar front day, we freaking smoked them. I was the only boat on the lake, on a very popular lake. I was the only guy. When I say only guy, I was the only boat. There was 4 to 6 foot rollers, and we just freaking lit them on fire, dude. My buddies are like, I can't believe you're out there. How's it going? I'm like, well, we just got the lake record, and Jackson got the junior lake record. And I mean, we've got so many fish over 40 that day. It was epic. So that's why I got a big water boat, so I can go fish those types of days. Chad Edwards says, do you vary the depth with wind, Jamie?
Say that again.
Vary the depth according to wind.
I do sometimes, Chris. Not all the time, because I can tell you it don't work all the time that way.
Yeah.
That I do more than certain times a year style myself, as far as the depth and stuff like that. But every lake is different. Myself, I come from a river. I know certain wind days, certain temperature days. I know exactly where I'm going. The lake is totally different than the river.
I agree with that.
So it's like trying to take two monsters, build one, and make it work for both. It's hard to do.
I'd say if I'm on the lake, I'm for my depth, I'm going off the magic depth, and that's going to work for me probably close to 90% of the time. Magic depth's going to be the depth that the bait is relating to on that specific day.
That's it.
I'll target all my patterns around that depth. Now, sometimes that don't work. You get out there, you're on the fish, they don't want to bite. You know, a lot of guys like, they just ain't biting. What do we do? Well, that's when I will go to piece of structure and I will target smaller group of fish that is really locked in. Maybe they're on just a little certain section of a rocky shore with a creek feeding it. That's when the depth changes. You're really looking at that piece of structure as, okay, well, that for whatever reason, they like that wind-blown, those rocks on that really wind-blown bank. I think it's because there's a lot of wave action. It's stirring things up. If there's bait around those rocks, it's getting banged, and it's like a free meal. I know because you can see birds sitting on the shoreline getting shad that are getting washed up in those big rollers and stuff. So on days like that, yes, I will go kind of outside my normal pattern of the magic depth, and I will fish. It's usually for a day like that, it's going to be like a rocky shoreline where bait's getting smashed up against those rocks, and I'm throwing it right up in there. We're in that smash zone.
Chris, this one I know you're going to be excited to talk about this one, Chris. Justin was asking, how do you keep your planer board straight when dragging across a slight crosswind?
Slight crosswind. Well, the wind has to be right. If it's just a slight crosswind, it doesn't matter the direction. Turn around and go into the wind. If you got less than 10-mile-an-hour wind, it doesn't really matter. The fish, you'll see on the graph, every fish, they're not orienting a certain direction. It looks like a group of hogs. I mean, they might all be heading a certain way, but they're just like this. And I don't know that direction that you're dragging matters in that situation. So using the wind can help. But one thing that you can do is to pull your boards out is once you get them pulled out by bumping your speed up, a lot of times they will stay out better that way. Another thing that you can do is if you're dragging like a 2-ounce weight, move to a 3-ounce, and that's going to pin your bait to the bottom and allow those boards to pull. They just won't pull out as far, but they will. That bait keeps that board pinned so they will pull right. They just don't pull out as wide. Whereas if you got like a 2-ounce and you got crosswind blowing them, it'll blow that weight, the board, everything will kind of be blown into other stuff. So
yeah, Chris, you kind of answered the question right there. I was going to tell guys, guys, my tackle box, y'all seen we were showing it last week. I've got everything from a 2-ounce, 4-ounce, and of course, if I'm doing a river, I can go up. But certain days on the lake, I might have a 3-ounce. If I might even have to go to a 4-ounce, depending how rough it is. So it definitely pays off having different ounce weights on your boat for those certain days for the wind.
Another thing that can help is how far you got the boards out. So on the side that's getting blown, shorten that line. You're going to have to pull all those closer so that it's you're getting a stronger pull off of those. Where if you got a big long line out, they're getting blown. But if it's just feeling that pull, then they'll stay pulled out. It's going to be closer to the boat. It's not ideal, but it's something that you're just going to have to play with. And then the opposite side, you can spread those out so that, you don't have as much spread out over here, but over on that side, you can actually spread those out more. So you're still covering a big swath. And it's not like you're covering less water because that side's actually able to cover more water. You just have to kind of play with that and see kind of where everything is spreading and how they're pulling. So,
Chris, give me 1 second. 1 second.
Yeah. Killer B, what's up, bro? Here we go. What do you say? Nothing.
Sorry about that, y'all.
He got shy. Jackson came in, but he didn't say much.
And Chris, a point I was wanting to make too is having the right planer board, and I know you got the right planer board for different days.
Yeah.
You know, having that heavy planer board like Parks planer boards, man, has a good planer board that works in some real heavy wind and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they work in the
so they got a real heavy board that'll buoy down. And what the buoyed board will do is it doesn't allow the wind to blow it as much. It's down in the water. It's like having, for instance, guys, like, how does this big giant boat of yours, how does it drag so good? And the one thing is, because I keep the fuel tanks full, so when I stop, it's still got a shallow draft, but it buoys down. It buoys down, and that's what that big, heavier planer board does from Parks. It's a giant freaking planer board. It buoys down, so when waves hit it, it's not just blowing it and doing all that. It's just staying in its position. So
guys, even down all the way to your tackle, the wind can factor down to everything that you're using that day. What's up, buddy? So definitely, man, even down to your tackle, like I was saying, the wind can factor into everything that you're doing. So you got to pay attention to a lot of that. A lot of that stuff is overlooked. So, I mean, if you get out there and you say, well, damn, I don't have the right tackle or the right gear for this day, for this wind, then you're pretty well SOL, up the creek without a paddle on a lot of those days. So,
Mike, what's up, buddy? Jackson, Levi says, what's up? He's on the top of 105. Come here. Come here. Get out of there. Say hello to Levi. Jackson's on his second day of school, y'all. His teacher said he did great today. So
way to go, buddy.
Feeling pretty good about all that. Evan, stop. That's not a touch screen. Evan says, if the wind is pushing you left to right, do you think the fish can feel that? Jamie,
can you
got a left to right wind? Do the fish feel that?
Myself, man, the left to right, the wind, brother. I tell you, it can go a little bit either way. I've caught fish with the left to right wind. I've caught fish. Then I have not caught fish before. But yes, I think they can tell some changes like that for sure. Because with that, your bait's going to react different also. So that's something else you got to think about. How your bait's reacting, why you got this weird left to right deal going on.
So left to right wind, guys, usually when it hits, it's going to be a west type wind. That's the west front hitting. That's usually your first left to right type wind. Yep. Then it starts blowing out of the north because it's a north front. That's the way it is here. You'll get north wind, and then it'll switch out of the east. And usually by the time it switches out of the east, fishing really starts to slow down considerably. That's when we'll move to.
And of course, I want to say this, guys. We were talking earlier about your weights. Having the right weight for certain winds is important because it's going to cause you to be able to keep your baits on the bottom or keep your baits at a certain level that you want them at. All right. When you got all this motion right here, that can actually give you a reaction bite even more. I have found it's helping your bait react a lot more than if you just keeping it at a certain speed. So I have found that it has helped me having, some of the rougher water and stuff. And that's why you catch a lot more fish on those little bit rougher days than you do those calmer days. So it's also helping your bait just a lot more natural looking, doing like this, kind of going crazy, making it look like it's injured. And that's why you say you catch more fish on more windy days than you do flatter days.
Yeah, that wind is like it creates current in a lake. That creates oxygen.
Yeah.
All things that catfish and bait like. Usually when the wind dies, the fish go lay down in the mud. You can still catch them. You just got to target them a little differently.
Now, Chris, I want to ask you this question. I've been asked this question before. Do you cut your baits any different on a day where it's not as windy than you do on a day that's more windy?
Yeah.
That's
generally
something a lot of
going a
people
little bit smaller on my baits. Now, if it's wintertime, I'm still going to go giant, but I will have smaller baits on. If there's a no wind day, I'm going smaller on baits. I mean, and I'm going to put them as close to the bottom as I can.
Yep.
Where some of them are right on the bottom. You're going to get snagged if there's debris down there because your hook's going to get into mono balls. And if you're in like a stumpy area, your hook's going to be hung up in mono balls and crap because they're damn near right on the bottom. But, I mean, if you don't get them within a foot from the bottom, you won't catch fish. If you're dragging and you're using your regular old rigs that you're catching fish on, the wind dies, you better make a change if you want to continue catching fish because they just, once they lay down in the mud, they'll still bite. You just got to slow everything down and you got to put it right in front of their face.
Now, how about when you're cutting your bait, Chris, filleting it? Are you filleting it a little bit different on days it's not as windy to give it that more natural look to help it be more enticed by getting that bite?
I try to do that all the time. Just, I will this time of year I'll chunk stuff because I mean we're not catching a lot of big fish. Yeah. But when it's big fish season here, God's like, man, you sure are particular about your bait. I just like it cut a certain way. I like it to flutter. I want my stuff to flutter. And even if I've got a giant bait that I got to trim down, like when I say giant, a giant bait where it's too big to throw on a hook, and I got to trim it down into a fishable size, if it's a double hook rig, it's a 8 to 10 inch bait. It's big, it takes 2 hooks, but it come off a fish like, a big fish, and I got to trim it down. I'm going to trim that thing to look like a fish, like, a head and a tail piece. And that's how I'm going to do it, just because I believe when you're dragging, the benefit of dragging is you're presenting your baits like it's a fish that's alive.
I believe we all can get stuck in that pattern of trying to hurry, get our baits out, and we're just sitting there cutting them the same way over and over and over instead of trying some of those new things. Instead of trying some of them fillets that might have that.
So let's say I got a big bait like this. Well, that's really too big to put on a hook. So out of this bait, I'm going to take the fillet. Okay, I take the fillet. That's going to be one bait. I'm going to chop the head off. That's a head that's, I'd say it's like that, the head piece. That's a giant bait. That's going to be a single hook rig bait. I'm going to take the whole fish minus the head. I'm going to chop the tail off. I'm going to put that one on a double hook rig. So that bait's going to be 8 to 10 inches long. And it looks like a fish when it's swimming. It's got some flutter to it. I just think adding some action when you're dragging is crucial to catching big fish, because generally, like let's say you're fishing structure like a river channel, you're going to find the biggest, baddest fish are going to be, over time, they're going to be in a specific location damn near every time. And why are they there? Because they're waiting for a fish to come. They're actually laying there in an easy spot. When the fish comes, they don't even have to chase it. Fish comes, swims over, they just eat it. So you're trying to present that bait like a fish that's coming to them. But not only that, I'm trying to present mine to a fish that's coming to them that's almost dead. It's just about to die. And I believe when you add that part of to it, where it's a bait that's almost dead, because when you're dragging, it's coming along like this. It's not just like a fish would be swimming. It's coming along like every time the wave comes, it's just looks like a fish that's almost about to die. And I think that's why dragging, if done precisely, and you know how to hit that certain if you know how to target the right ambush structure in a specific way, that's what will dramatically increase your big fish.
Yeah. And that's where it goes back to, man, is doing your homework on that lake. You know, understanding what the different changes is meaning for that lake that you're fishing. You know, understanding that migration, are they going north? Are they going south? And stuff like that. You know, that pays into having successful days and having days that's like, oh, crap, why'd I even get up out of bed?
So Mike says each rod he uses begins with a different cut until he figures out what they prefer that day. And I'm similar because when I'm cutting my big baits, there's no way to have them all the same. So I'm the same way, Mike. And when I vary them, I'm very specific to which rods I'm putting which baits on. So my longest planer board is always going to get my biggest, baddest bait. Just because over time, your biggest, baddest fish have all come, not all. Let's say we're having a 30 fish day. We got 30 fish over 20 pounds. Let's say we're on a day like that. All of our 40s will come off the longer planer board. So we'll catch 10 over 40. Every one of them come off the longest planer board with the biggest bait. And as you downsize baits, the fish downsize. So we're catching all of our smaller fish off the smallest cut, which I put usually in the back because I've found that the biggest, baddest fish are boat shy. Even in 40 foot of water, they freaking know you're there, man. And they'll kick out to the side of the boat. And I think that's another reason why planer boards are really effective because you're putting the baits right there where they're kicking out. And if you got them at the right distance from the boat, that fish kind of decides, okay, now I can eat again. And here's the bait. Boom. And there he is. So that magic number, I'm not sure exactly what the magic number is because it varies with wind and depth. They kick out more if you're shallow. I know because when I'm up shallow, I can see giants kicking out. I can see big wakes moving out from in front of the boat. They get spooked from that damn electric motor. They move out. I can see them on my side image sonar, and they're heading that way. And I'm like, okay, they're heading out. If we're going to get one, it's going to be on that long board. And we got about 2 minutes before that long board will get over them. And if it goes down, it'll be a 50. And then boom, 50. So.
You know, that's amazing, Chris. Like I said, you know, you've understand your graphs enough where you can tell by looking at that fish and timing that fish out with your boards. Even on those days with the wind, you know exactly when they should hit that bait coming over the top of them.
That's the beauty of that side image sonar. You see in the fish you're catching.
Yeah.
Over time, you'll know, okay, that's a 40. That's a 50. Damn, that one's probably a 60 plus. If we catch that one, it's going to be greatness. Y'all about to see me do some break dancing up in here.
Now that leads to my next question, Chris, and I saw where this was in chat earlier. You've got a graph. It's just not up to par. You know, it's just not up.
Fish 2D this way. You don't have to have faith. Guys, the electronics, yes, they help. But you don't have to have it. I mean, they will definitely help you once you become a wizard on the graph. It's probably one of the best tools for trophy catfishermen there is. Yeah. Now, when you get out deep, side image doesn't work. I mean, you get out in 50 foot of water, you can't hardly see fish on the bottom. So it's more of a 2D game. So
how are you going to target those fish, Chris, if you don't have the best graph or the best boats and stuff? What's your game plan on targeting those fish even better?
I'm still looking at the same types of areas. I'm looking for structure. I'm going to scan that structure. I'm going to try to decide where fish are orienting. Are they going to be on the ledge? Are they on the bottom of the ledge? Or are they on top of the ledge? On any given day, they could be any one of those three. They're generally going to be somewhere. Are they going to be, is it after a front where every fish in the lake goes and crams itself out in the channel? If it's that, you can see that you can also see that on 2D. And the way that you're going to scan some of this stuff when you're using 2D, it's not like side image where you can line up with the ledge and just run the ledge with your side image and see all the fish on the bottom and all the fish on the top. You got to do cross sections if you're using 2D. So instead of running the ledge, you got to start up shallow and drive off of the ledge to see where the fish are as you come off of the ledge. And if, you just have to kind of use the technology a little bit different when you're using 2D, whereas side image allows you to see how the fish is orienting to that specific piece of structure. Where 2D, you got to kind of figure out all that.
And it might take you a little bit longer to pick out that pattern or figure out that bottom. You might have to make 4, 5, 6 different scans around a certain area until you draw that mental picture of how that bottom's going to look with what you've seen so far. And once you do that, then like Chris was saying, you know where to target those big fish.
So Mike, when you see the big fish turning on the top water in front of your drag, do you think the trolling motor scares them down in a way, or they stay up top? I've seen them. They kick out to the side of the boat. You can see the wake. They're like, you can see them leave away from your boat. And then a lot of the times, the really big ones, you ain't catching them. If you spook them, they're done. But over time, I have caught them. So I know, okay, that was that freaking fish we spooked. Yeah. And we just caught it, because when you're up shallow and you're marking big fish, it's not like you're seeing a million big fish. When you see one that's 60 pounds on your side image, and then you see a giant on your side image, and then 2 minutes later, you get a fish that's 50, 60 pounds, that was it. That was him.
Now, Chris, certain situations like that, I've done this before in the past. I might pull off of that area for 2-3 hours, let it settle back down, knowing that fish is hanging out in that area.
Yeah.
But if the wind is allowing, I won't even put my trolling motor down for a while until I get over that area, trying not to re-spook those fish again.
Yeah, when you're fishing shallow and you're dragging, do not scan where you plan to drag. You can catch fish that way, but you are scaring off all the fish over 50. And when I say scare off, they move far enough away from your line where when you go back and scan again, you won't even see them. You won't even be able to mark them again. So I've gone over them enough where I'm like, damn, there's one I don't even know how big. He is freaking giant. And I'll move on up and scan another 100 yards. And when I come back, he's gone. Yeah. He's gone. Yeah. I don't know where he went. I don't know how far he went, but he's far enough where he's not within 100 feet on either side of the graph. There's a 200-foot swath. He's moved out or gone down the lake or just somewhere out of my radar reach. So when you get up shallow and you're scanning, you want to start seeing big fish and then decide, okay, there's giants up here. I'm going to go around at this area and then set up on them and come through them. Don't just scan your area and where you're marking big fish and expect to turn around and catch those fish. You won't.
Yeah.
You won't. They're too smart. And that's pretty much the case if you're, I'd say, 20 feet or less, 15 feet or less. They really spook like that. And I've learned especially when you're up shallow, if you're planning on dragging it, go way around. Like mark first, you got to make sure the fish are up there. But once you start marking a few, they're not the only ones there. Get off of them, go around them, and then drag through them. So, and you
guys look at it this way: if you see in fish beds, you're not going to pull your boat on top of them. It's the exact same scenario. Pull up off of them and fish for them. Don't just drive right through them. It's the exact same
scenario. Big fish are smart. They didn't get giant by being dummies. So they spook, and they do spook easily. Even in 30 foot of water, they tend to move away from you when you go over them. I don't know I mean, a lot of times I got my trolling motor running, and guys are like, it's that trolling motor, because I've run this live scope, and I see when they see that trolling motor, they get the hell out of there. So,
well, Chris, a lot of times too is I tell people, watch the depth of the water that you're running your trolling motor in. Set your trolling motor to a certain depth that you're not going to be coming out making all that noise, but you're just at that right level to where you're making as less noise as possible also.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So that's another big.
The other thing is get your boards as far away from the boat as you can, especially when you're up shallow. When you're really deep, you can put them a little bit closer. But when you're up shallow, get your boards as far away from the boat as you can, and your big fish catch will go way up. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Now, Chris, do you fish your shallow water any different on windier days than you do flatter days, or you fish it about the same with the wind scenario?
I fish it the same. It's really rough up shallow when there's big wind, because the waves are shorter. If that makes sense, in between waves is a shorter distance when you're up shallow than when you're out deep. It's just from one wave to the next out deep is different than when you're up shallow. It's just like this. So it is different. But I mean, if it's really windy, you can't put boards way out. You have to kind of keep them a little bit closer. But if it's super windy, there's a lot of sound and stuff going on in the lake. They might not spook quite as easy. If you're going over them and that type of stuff. So
this just goes to show you each day could be different. You've got to pay close attention to each day, the scenarios you have that day. And that goes back, like we said earlier, your tackle. How you gonna set your baits up? How you gonna set your boards up? So there's a lot of scenarios that goes into just different windy days like that. I mean,
if you're up shallow, you don't want to have a whole lot of line out behind your boards, because you'll be hung up because it's stumpy. There's a lot of debris up there.
And that goes back even your drift socks, man. You can catch your drift socks up on stumps.
You're up shallow and in the stumps when you're drift sock and you're pulling that drift sock up and it's just full of mud. It's like, damn, we're digging.
Man, I've had to do that several times. My drift socks get hung up on stumps. I mean, all kinds of stuff because I'm hitting that shallow water.
Yeah. It's a highly successful way to drag getting up shallow. Just you got to do things a little different. But as far as does it change with the wind, not a whole lot. I will line up my lines different depending on wind direction. If it's big wind, I'm always going with the wind. Light wind, I'll go whichever way I think is going to benefit me the most. If it's structure, I'm lining up with that. If it's a river channel, I'm lining up with that. If it's a shoreline contour, I'm trying to hit that. If it's just an open flat, I'm going wherever I want.
Now, generally, Chris, how far is your boards out? And I know we just said, depending on what the wind is that day or how, the different weather conditions, like I just said, what you just said is I might have my boards out a little bit, not as far out.
Yeah, it really varies. I don't know that you can really say. Yeah, to me, it's really all according to how they're riding that day. It's how I can get them to spread.
What's your average? What's probably your average on at certain times?
I'm probably putting them out close to maybe a little less than 100 yards on my longest one. But on a day where I'm shortening them up, it may only be 100 feet. It really just depends on the day, the water I'm in. If I'm in big water, I'd like to get my boards out because rough water makes your boards just jerky. So if you can get a lot of line behind them and get them out far from the boat, it's just a more smooth presentation. But sometimes you can't do that. I mean, I don't want my stuff all blowing into each other. So if I have to, I shorten those up on those days. Light wind, I'm putting them pretty far out there, and I'm trying to get a decent spread. But if the fish are real thick and they're real active, I don't need to have them far out there because the rods are going off left and right. I play with them. I don't know that there is just a perfect answer for that. Yeah. It's very day to day on how they're going to. It seems like even like you could have a 15-mile-an-hour wind day, and then the next weekend it could also be 15-mile-an-hour wind day, and your boards ride completely different. I don't even know what the hell's making them ride different.
Yeah,
but you have to kind of jockey them for what they're doing. And if one side is not riding right, you got to make the adjustments for that side. And you can't say, well, I'm going to run this side the same as this side. You just have to try to get, if this side's all cramming together, you just try to spread them out as best you can. And then these, you might run them super long.
And a lot of people doesn't know, Chris, a lot of times is some of these lakes can have some underwater currents. You can have different currents certain times causing your boards to act totally different than you do certain other days. That's another factor too, is, those underwater currents, that plays a lot in this stuff.
So, Alex, what can you do on your if you're on the water with light winds and it picks up to high winds? Well, that happens actually quite a bit. I mean, so as soon as it picks up to high winds, usually you're going to have to make an adjustment. And if it's a light wind day, you might be dragging a piece of structure. And as soon as the wind picks up, you might decide, okay, time to reel up. We're going to go out here on this flat next to the channel, and we're going to put our boards way out, and we're going to drag a little different with the wind. And when I say way out, you put them out as far as you can, but where your line isn't in the water. So if you got them out too far, you got line from the boat to your board in the water. That creates drag. It pulls your board back. So you want your line to your board. And you put them out as far as you can where your line is still going to your board. If the line starts going in the water, you got them out too far. Reel that thing in or speed up or get them to pull better because that line in the water creates drag. It's going to pull your boards offline. You're going to end up getting snagged. It's just not good. So
and don't forget too, guys, certain windy days, it's going to vary for your speed that you're going to be pulling your baits. So, that's another thing too, is you got a heavy windy day, your speeds are going to vary, from what you're normally pulling. So normally, like I like a 0.3 or 0.5, you'll have to adjust for those certain days also for that. That's another factor that you'll have to look at.
Yeah, and you got to speed up sometimes to get your boards to correct.
Yep.
You look up, you check your boards if they're not correct, if they're not pulling correctly, because the board, once you get them spread out, the wind will hit the back of the board and keep it right. But over time, as it starts pulling weird, that board will pull like that. Well, then the wind starts blowing it back towards the boat. So you got to speed back up and get that thing corrected where the wind is on the back side of that board, blowing it the right way, where it's blowing it correct instead of, getting pulled like this and then, pulling wrong. So sometimes you just got to jockey that trolling motor and go fast to get everything to spread correct and then get back down to your speed that you're actually catching fish at.
And I know we hit on this just a little bit while ago, Chris. It's like you've got one side of the boat. And I tell you, guys, this is another thing. Your boat can vary how your boards pull sometimes too. I will tell you that.
Yeah, it depends on how high your rods are up.
Yeah.
How far out you can kick them to the side. So I got rod holders on the side of my boat. Sometimes I'll take them out of my multi-bars, put them on the side rod holders.
Yes.
Because they ain't pulling right. But I can get them pull hard when I kick them out to the side like that. If I got them shortened up, you know.
And Chris, like your boat's gonna pull your board totally different than what my boat would pull, you know. So it's going back to learning your boat situation too. It's like, because I can tell you on my boat, man, say my left side pulls perfect all the time, but
there's
my
always
right
going to be one side that doesn't pull as good.
That's it.
So one thing that I'll use, like if I'm pulling with the wind, I still got a sock out. If I'm pulling against the wind, I still got a sock out. I just vary the size of the sock where it's just enough to hold the back end of my boat straight, and I can, you know, the boat, I can point the boat in the direction I want because it's got a drift sock behind it, so I can point that thing in whatever direction that I want.
That's the same thing in the rivers, Chris. I'll use my drift sock quite a bit because of that back motion on that boat. You know how it's doing this.
It eliminates that.
Yeah, that's it. That's gone. And a lot of guys around here on the rivers, a 5-gallon bucket to do the same thing. Also, you know, so
that's what a lot of guys used to use 20 years ago. They didn't have drift. They called them drift anchors, but guys didn't really use them for drift socks.
If you got one of the older trolling motors that has just a high, the medium, or just the low, it's, you know, that goes where, like ours, we can adjust that speed by the remote control.
Easy. Ours are super adjustable, which if you're it's for dragging because dragging, before I had my smart trolling motor, I dragged.
Yeah,
it's a nightmare.
And I tell you, sometimes
it's not easy, man. It's not easy. You can do it, but you're working your ass off all day, and if you mess up, you're completely screwed. I mean, your stuff's tangled all behind you. You look up and you're going around in a circle.
It's hard for you to hold that certain line and stuff like that too, you know, in certain ways. And I guess in certain situations before, you know, back in the day, sometimes you just had to pull up on a certain spot and throw out your sock, not even worry about the trolling motor, and just pray that.
That's the way we used to do it, man.
Yeah.
Until I had the smart trolling motor. I mean, that smart trolling motor changed it all because it's got a cruise control. You can set your speed. So if you want to go 0.4, you're going 0.4. And you're not going any slower than that. And if the wind picks up, you put out a bigger sock. And then you go back, slow back down, and then you bump up your autopilot, or not autopilot, cruise control to whatever speed that you're wanting to maintain. Then, you know, the two settings I use most, probably the most I use is the autopilot, which I pointed in the direction I want to go, and it keeps me going in that direction. And what that'll do is when you catch a 50-pounder, you're not looking up and everything's you turn the whole boat around and every rod's tangled. It'll keep your boat pulling in the same direction, keep you from tangling all your crap. And trust me, that's worth it. That's worth every freaking penny right there.
That's it.
Because I had a lot of trips before I had that where I tangled everything up and I just was like, it's time to go home. Hell, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
It gets very frustrating, that's for sure. But Bruce, don't give up on it, man. It can work for you in a lot of scenarios. You just have to learn that wind, how far you might have to pull over in a certain area, and learn that pattern that wind is going to take you to knowing how far over this way or this way you've got to be. So it can be more of a nightmare, but it can be done if you just
Bruce, I'd say if you're on that low, medium, high, stick with going into the wind with light wind, super light wind. Medium wind, I wouldn't do it because you're going to be spun around. If you catch a good fish, you get excited, man. It's exciting to catch these fish, and when you get all fired up, you forget. Oh, I forgot to man my damn trolling motor for the last 12 minutes. And now look at all our lines. It's like,
that's a nightmare, cuz.
It's like, whoops.
Time you take your eye off of it, you're going this way. when you should be going this way, it can be a nightmare.
So my drip socks, I've got them out. I think I've got maybe 8 or a 10-foot harness that goes on my sock. If you don't have them out far enough, there's a wash behind the boat, and it won't slow you down. But if you got them out too far, getting the damn thing in on a high wind day is like having a tug of war with freaking Hulk Hogan. I'm out there with an 8-year-old. So it's not like I can have my buddy put it in reverse and I can get the sock back. It's
don't do that too much, guys, because that don't work neither. I've done it and put it right in the motor. Get in a hurry, forget about it, and be like, damn, why did I do
that too. I've enjoyed some socks.
So have you a couple extra lines just in case.
Guys, go out a lake with the Wind app and teach us where to target. I can teach you where to target on pretty much all of our home lakes. So it just, a lot of it is section oriented based on seasonal migration of bait and fish. So that's the first thing. You're figuring out which section of the lake that 90% of the fish are in. It's that 90-10, whatever they call the 90-10 formula for fishing. So you're looking for 90% of the fish and 10% of the lake. In that 10% of the lake, now you're trying to figure out in that 10%, which area in that 10% you're going to target. So, if you're on a 30,000 acre lake, you're at 10% still thousands of acres,
Yeah.
So but it definitely helps you hone it down to know, all right, now I've found the 90%. Now I got to figure out what I'm going to target in this section of the lake. And then the Wind is basically, let me see if I can pull up my home lake and I'll see if I can do some stuff. Jay, you go ahead. Let me find Navionics.
Yeah, guys, I'm going through chat here. If y'all have any questions and stuff, definitely feel free to ask. I'm switching back and forth from chats. I just figured out how to do it, man. I'm switching back from Facebook to YouTube. So if any of you guys have any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask. But yeah, man, there's a lot that goes into having a good day of fishing, Chris. It's like going to school. You got to do your homework. I mean, depends on, let's just say, how big a trophy catfisherman that you really want to become. Your time, your effort, knowing the situations that's going to be, valuable to your success in fishing. Now, if you want to go out and have just a joyful day and stuff like that, I mean, just show up at the lake and say, I'm just going to go fun fishing. That's a lot of people does. But you know how we like to get, we want to learn the situations. We want to know what's going to be best for certain days. So, like I said, it's like a kid in school. Just do your homework and it's going to pay off, I promise you. And that's why we're here to try to help, with as much knowledge, that we can to help all of our people out.
All right, I'm trying to pull it up. Let me see if I can get Navionics is acting weird on my computer.
Chris, what size parts planer boards do you use?
I generally use the regulars, but I go all the way up to the large. The large I'll use on days where most guys aren't even fishing the lake because it's too windy, the waves are too big. I'm having problems with Navionics pulling up. Let me see if I can go through a different deal here, guys.
Yeah, sometimes you can turn right around and go right back into the Wind, and it picks right back up on the bite. That's a good thing to do also. We were talking about the creeks earlier. That certain drift, as you're going into that creek, that wind's blowing that bait, you can time it at certain times. You might miss it as you're coming in, but when you make that turnaround and start to come back out, you're catching that bait pretty much doing like this, and you will run into a lot more bites. Try to switch back over. Is it still not working, brother?
I got it. I'm pulling it up. Give me a second.
And when I used to do a lot in the ocean, the NOAA weather channel, on the radio, you could always have that weather going constantly. If you've got one of those two guys, pay attention, and that's another good tool to have also.
All right. Let's see here if I can get this going. All right. So here's my home lake. Let's say we just had the lake turnover, right? It's fall. The water's been warm all summer. Okay. We're getting cool. We're getting our first cool fronts, our first cool rains. This is the north section of the lake. You got the main river flowing into the lake right here. You got a main big creek flowing in right here. These are going to be dumping fresh, cool, oxygenated water into the lake. So let's say you got a south wind, right? The fish are orienting up here into this 3,000 acre section, right? Okay, your south wind, you may be looking around this creek channel because it's usually normal day of wind. It's going to be southeast wind. You're going to be fishing this line right here. Bang, bang, right here. Okay. Let's say you got a southwest wind. You may move over here, southwest wind, fish this channel. Because these fish, if it switches out of the southwest, they're going to move over here. They won't move far, but they're going to orient to this section right here. Let's say you get a big rain event and you got water flushing in. All these fish right here and all these fish that are out in this section right here. Can y'all see my arrows?
Yeah, yeah.
These fish that are sitting out here on these big, expansive flats, when you get that water coming into the lake and it's cool, oxygenated, fertilized water, they're going to move right up into these areas right here. Boom. So I'm going to come up in here if there's a rain. I'm going to check these areas. Okay. I'm going to look up in here by the mouth of this river. Maybe this little pitch point right here. Okay. Let's say all of a sudden we get a big giant north front. Everything's been up in here for the last month. You get a big north front. It's the first major front of the year. Okay. These fish are going to make a huge run when that big front hits. And this is the first major transition in all that 3,000 or 4,000 acres. This is the first major transition. This thing right here will be lined up with every fish every big fish that was in this 4,000 acres is going to rush and line up on this ledge right here on the first and maybe second day of that front. Okay. After that first or second day of the front, they're going to start moving out. They'll move out onto these flats. They may move back down here a little further. They won't go far, but that's the areas you're going to hit. So first day of the front, hit that freaking first transition. It's almost a guarantee for big fish. And we had a show on it last year when I was talking about it. And then we had a front the very next week. And I came back to the show and said, man, we lit them up. And it was pretty cool because they were exactly where I said they were going to be after that first front. My buddy fished it too, and he smoked them. So there's that. Now, let's say you got a no-wind day, right? You got a no-wind day. It doesn't matter which way the wind's blowing. All of a sudden, the wind stops blowing. They've been out here feeding on these flats. As soon as the wind stops, move to these ledges. Move up here to this shoreline contour right here. They'll line up on these shoreline contours. Let's say you've got, very light wind, and they're just kind of lethargic. They'll line up on these shoreline contours like this. They'll move out of these sections Any fish that was in here is going to line up either here or here. And over time, you'll start seeing that you can use this same type of scenario on any type of lake that you go to. And I hope that helps. Any old creek bed will work. Any secondary channel coming off the main channel are going to be your major highways. If you can find a Y in the channel on the day before to the day that the front hits, you're going to find the Y is loaded. And if you can add a couple of extra features to that, let's say the Y is in a little bit deeper water. When that front hits, that's where they're going to go. Or right before that front hits, that's where they're going to go, into those little areas where they can transition to a different area quickly, depending on how bad the storm is. So if it's a bad storm, they're going to want to move deep. And, if it's not as bad, they want to be able to quickly get back up into that shallow section. If the next day that it warms up and starts blowing out of the south, they're going to start moving back into those areas. Now, all lakes are not the same, but that is generally how fish are going to move.
And I want to say too, guys, I want to say too, just because you got a rough, windy day and you feel like that bait's being chunked up against one ledge or one side, doesn't always mean 100% that is where all the fish are going to be. That does not happen, all the time.
So when you see them on this ledge, right? Let's say they're on this ledge right here. When you see them on this ledge, you really need to scan this ledge hard, because sometimes they're right here at the bottom of the ledge. Sometimes, and if you don't put your bait on them on a day like that, you will not catch a single fish. So if you're out here, you won't catch them. But if they're lined up on the bottom of this ledge, run it right on that ledge. Now, you can always put a few out here and a few out here with your planer boards, but you're going to want to hit this ledge. And, sometimes I will ride out here and put my outside planer boards up on this thing. That way my planer boards are the ones hitting this ledge instead of the long lines behind my boat.
Yeah.
But if it's a real windy, wavy day, I'll line right up on that ledge. I'll put baits up on top of this thing, put some down here on the bottom, so you're covering this whole ambush area that they're laying on. And if you'll do that, I can guarantee you your big fish production will dramatically increase. Now, here's another section of the lake that I'll fish certain scenarios. So let's say you've had the first major cold front of the winter, not the fall, the winter, when you've got a big giant freeze that hits. Okay. You've had fish, let's say the fish are up in 30 feet the week before. Okay. It's cold. The water temperature, let's say it's been 55, between 55 and 60 degrees. They're usually in 30 feet in those temperature ranges, sometimes a little deeper, but they're in 30-ish feet. You get that big cold front, they're going to leave these 30-foot areas, and they're going to go move to an area where they're going to hold. And you're going to see that damn near every lake, you get to the area, and it looks like every fish in the lake is there. So here's a good area. This is where two major river channels meet, okay? You got the main river channel meeting a major creek channel. This is 45 feet. It's 40 feet up in here, 45, 46 feet over here. You got a major hump right here. You got a major point sticking out. You got timber up in here. You got timber up in here. This is like an ultimate sweet spot after a storm, after a big cold front. Doesn't really matter which way the wind's blowing. When you get in here, they go here for a holding type area. So you can duplicate this same type of stuff on most lakes. Now, not all lakes are set up the same, but if you can find where an intersecting channel comes off the main lake channel, that's going to be an area where this whole section, when that front hits, they're going to get the hell out of there, and they're going to go to a transition area where they can decide, okay, if the front gets worse, I can run out here to deep water. If it warms up, I can run back up in here into this shallow stuff. So, the way I'm going to target this, if it's a south wind, obviously you're going to go this way. I mean, I'm going to try to hit these bends in the channel. It's going to be big fish, big fish. Then I'm going to try to hit this point, big fish. I'm going to hit this bend where this Y is, this small little 2-acre flat. It's right here. I'm going to try to hit that. I'm going to go across these bends, and I'm going to get my trolling motor. I'm going to try to take it across these bends right here. And you'll see over time, and I actually caught the lake record right here on this run. And when we did, we hit like a 40 here, a 40 here. We busted a 50 here. We got another 40. And then it was like 30, lake record, boom. Caught another 40 right here, moved over here, caught some 30s. And then when we hit this bottom of this hump, we busted another lake record, boom, right there, bang. So you can see these are ambush structure. You got the bottom of this hump. You got bends in the channel. This is where fish, the biggest, baddest fish, are going to orient to the highest valued structure where they can catch bait easy. It's going to be here, 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 bottom of this point, here, in between this hump, and then this little hump ledge. So over time, when you start targeting these things with precision, you're going to find that your big fish catch ratio, and I mean big fish, it's going to be the biggest fish of the day is going to come off of these types of places every single time. And I can guarantee you, when you start targeting structure in a specific way, your big fish production will go through the roof. You'll go from catching a few big fish here and there. In Texas, a big fish is over 50. So you'll go from catching a few big fish for the year to starting to catch them every trip when you're specific on the way you target them.
Man.
Sorry, man.
Hey,
when I get going,
this is what we love, guys. We're not scripted at all. This is what we love. We love going into details, breaking it down, showing you everything we can show you to help y'all's fishing go even better. And I can tell you, this is why we were excited about tonight's show. We knew that this could open doors in a lot of different directions. We were talking, it was like, man, what can we do? And we were talking, man, let's do one on the wind, man. Let's talk about, because we knew that could open up different scenarios, different tricks, different things that you could really put to use on certain days to help you improve your fishing on all kinds of different lakes. And this, like I said, guys, this goes back to doing your homework. Chris breaks his stuff down. You can tell how he looks at stuff. I do the same thing on certain rivers. I do the same thing on certain lakes and stuff, breaking it down. Guys, that little bit, 1% that you could be missing could be a world of difference in making it 100% a hell of a trip. So,
yeah. So I know a lot of the stuff we talk about, guys, is very it's very specific for a certain type of day. It's not like that area. You could go fish that area all year and not catch fish. But when the conditions are right, the biggest fish in the entire lake will be in that section. So knowing, and when I say knowing the situation, it's going to be like when these fronts, the day after these fronts hit, when these fish, you have to start thinking like a fish. If you want to really up your big fish game, you got to think all these big fish are up in this section. And when you get a big front, they want to be comfortable. And where are they going to run to? They're not going to run all the way down, 6 miles down the lake. They're going to run to the quickest place where they can get comfortable. And a lot of the times it's in that major transition area, because like here, it may only be cold for 3 days. And then you have a warm up. So they want to be able to get back to their areas. So, a lot of the stuff we're talking about it is very weather day specific. It might be the day the front's hitting or the day that we're having no wind. A lot of this stuff is not an everyday type of situation that we're talking about. So take a lot of this into consideration when we're talking about this. It's not like I'm telling you go fish that spot right now.
That's
it's
it. You
the
just
right
got
scenarios there.
just know when to go to that.
Fish those types of areas.
Yeah, that's it. Just knowing which end of the lake to go for different scenario days is what, the knowledge that, we're putting out there. And once you figure that out, man, I can promise you your fishing will increase big time. And the quality of the fish that you're catching, for sure.
Yeah, the beard's much easier to deal with. I used to shave the beard every spring for probably last 10 years, but now it's like I like to have a full beard for the winter. And it's this, you can't grow this thing in a month.
I know I'm ready to get down to Santee. I wasn't planning on going. This is last second thing. I'm ready to get down to Santee Cooper this weekend, and I've already started looking myself for what the wind's going to be doing. We were talking about it earlier, Chris. So I'm ready to get down there for the can tournament Saturday and see what happens. It's been a while, so I'm definitely looking forward to going down there and seeing if we can't put some big fish in the boat.
My son's got soccer tournaments all weekend. So soccer, and then I think the first weekend in September football season starts. So, man, it messes up my fishing this time of year. But, our fishing sucks till October, really. I mean, we can catch it. You can still go catch a decent fish here and there. I think we got a 30 last trip, which this time of year is pretty good for us. So I was happy with that. It scratched my itch. But come October, when we get some cold fronts blowing in and Texas fishing really fires up, right now it's kind of a luck thing. Come October, it becomes a skill thing. That's when I really, you can really target big fish specifically. And it's a lot nicer weather. I mean, right now the bite window is really short, 2-3 hours, and then the fishing trip's pretty much over. Unless you're out fishing all night, which is not really isn't conducive to having a kid who's playing sports every weekend. So,
yeah, I know I've been biting at the bit to get back on the river, but right now they've got a lot of our landings because of Debbie's still closed with all the flooding and stuff and with all the houses up and down the river. So that's going to be another 2 to 3 weeks, but I'm definitely wanting to catch that high water bite, as soon as I can, because we've talked about on the show before, I love fishing high water. So as soon as they start opening some of this stuff up, I'm definitely wanting to get back out there and maybe we can do a live out there and see how that high water bite goes. Because I know we got a lot of new fish that has moved around in a lot of different areas with the high water as much as pushed in. We got a lot of that fresh water that has pushed out into the salt water a lot more. So I'm excited to get back out there and see what happens on that salt water and fresh water deal.
This time of year is always my most painful time because I know what's coming for us. It's about to be epic. We're about to just really put the smack down on them every trip. But it's that time before where it's like, damn, come on, man, come on. It's that time right now for me. It's really hard for me to get motivated to fish for a bunch of eaters and a possibility of a 20, maybe a 30 if you're really lucky. But come October, boy, y'all gonna see something different.
I can't wait, brother. I know we're gonna see what they say, the smackdown being put down on them.
Yeah, so we start rolling in October. By November, it's full force, just total freaking big fish annihilation. And then it picks up steadily by February. It's just ridiculous. So,
Chris, you want to fill them in while we have a second about next week or everything.
What's going on next?
I won't be.
Oh yeah, so Jamie's not coming on the show next week. He's where are you going?
I am going to
he's going to Disneyland.
I'm going to Disneyland.
Disney World.
I've always wanted to go, so I'm gonna get a chance to go. We ain't done a vacation in forever. Myself, Mama, and we got to get away for a little while, man, and just have a little R&R because
that'll be good, man. It'll be a good time for y'all to go down there when there's not so much crap. The kids are back in school, so the crowd is bad. So
that's it. We're gonna get
good food and have some drinks. It'll be a good time, man.
That's it, man. Because when we get back, it's gonna be how you say, balls to the wall, with a lot of stuff that we got happening. That's for sure. We got a lot of new stuff that we're coming out with, guys. So y'all stay tuned for that. We're excited what the future holds for Carolina Lake Weights, and
I think we're gonna go live again this year. We took a year off from doing live fishing shows. We had every trip. 2 years before that, we had every trip. We fished every trip live. So I like doing that because it allows me to answer questions from guys, and it also allows them to see what kind of damage us Texas boys can do. A lot of guys don't realize we got good fish down here too. We may not have a bunch of 100-pound class fish, but winter's our time of year, so it's good to be able to show what Texas has to offer. So I think we're going to go live again, probably starting in October, and we'll probably go live all the way through April on all our trips. Now, I am going to put my son on a lot of the fish this year again, because that's what kind of got us going.
And I know we were talking too, Chris, about doing some more interaction lives and stuff. And things like that for all of our viewers. That's something we've been talking about. So that's exciting to see. We got a lot of cool things happening, man. That's for sure.
So, Mike, I've learned the camera angles are everything when you go live, because I've got the same problem, man. I've been fishing for, I've been doing this for 35 years. I got a freaking flotilla of boats around me every weekend. When I go live, when I first started going live, I had the camera angle wrong, where you could see everything behind the boat. Landmarks, bridges, water towers, marinas. And I would go there the next week. Now, it's not like just because I caught them there Saturday that you can go back there next Saturday and expect fish to be there. That ain't how blue cats work in a lake. So I would go the next weekend and there'd be 14 boats in my spot, and the weekend before there were 0. So I know what they were doing. They were Sherlocking my crap and showing up there and fishing it the next weekend. But I've learned to put the camera up high and just cast it down onto the rods where you're not seeing all the landscape stuff behind the boat, the bridges and the marinas and the water towers. Because yes, guys get on there and they freaking study that stuff with a magnifying glass, and they'll be out there. And another thing I'll also do, I take a couple fish, I'll put them in the live well, and then when I go move, I take pictures of fish with landmarks and stuff behind me, freaking 2 miles from where I caught the fish.
Well, Chris,
those are the pictures I post. So I'll go the next weekend. I'm going to my fishing spot. I'm looking at, there's 8 boats over here in my spot. I'm like, there ain't no fish over here, you freaking.
Now, we wouldn't do nothing like that, Chris.
But you know what? If you're my buddy, I'll tell you where I'm fishing, and I'll tell you where I think they're going to be, and I actually like guys fishing next to me if you're friendly. I don't have a problem telling guys where I fish and all that. I think it's cool, man. I actually like guys fishing next to me. I think it's fun to have your buddy over there, and when he catches one, he's woohoo, yeehaw, baby. And then he's hearing us hooting and hollering. I think it's cool. What I don't like is guys Sherlocking my crap and not even saying hello as I'm going by. They're just because they're like, I don't know, they feel bad that they're stealing the spot when really they could just say, hey, I saw you catching some fish over here. My name's so-and-so. How's it going? I would be like, hey, come fish next to me, but
that's it.
Juan says nothing like taking a fish pick at the boat ramp to throw people off.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll go to the section I know there ain't no fish in, and I'll like holding this giant up.
Oh man.
Man, because a lot of guys are real friendly, and they'll be like, because that's how that's how you learn. You be friendly to people that better, that are successful. Instead of trying to steal their crap, be friendly to them. You'd be surprised how open people will be when you're nice and friendly. But when you try to steal their crap, it's like I'm driving by and I'm seeing these guys in my spot, don't know any of them, and I'm driving by going, you sure
man.
Hot licking.
Oh man. But guys,
but if I'm on them, Jamie, and I got buddies on the lake, not even really buddies, but for people that are just friendly, and I just drove by them, saw them, I'll call them on the phone, say, hey man, they're up here. Come up here, Now, if they don't come, I'm probably not going to call them again. But I like having a lot of different fishing connections, and that right there helps your fishing probably as much as anything. Just having people that are willing to share information with you.
That's it. So yeah, man, I tell you, Chris, I'm looking forward to this fall, this winter, man, where we can actually, like I said, there's gonna be times that we talk about while you're fishing. I'm gonna come on. I'm gonna be answering
that's gonna be fun.
Yep, I'm gonna be answering questions for you, chat and stuff like that. So guys, like I said, we talked about quite a bit of stuff that we're gonna be doing. That while Chris is fishing or I'm fishing, vice versa, we're both fishing. So we're working on quite a bit of stuff, man. So it's gonna be exciting.
Ryan said I couldn't catch shit while I was next to you. Well, were we catching them? Because we might not have been catching them either, man. Sometimes they're just not. That shallow water bite's kind of tricky. You can go over 200 fish and only catch 4 of them. I mean, I always say, man, the difference between victory and defeat in trophy catfishing is like, man, this big, because you'll go over so many big fish, and and the difference between the guy next to you who didn't catch crap, and you who maybe caught 6 good ones. How many did you have to go over to get those 6? Because it's not like you just caught every good fish that you went over. You went over a bunch. So, I mean, said we were that day. Well, that was my day. We win a lot. We don't always win. And it pays to have good friends to help you. I'll tell you, Ryan. So, if I see you out on the lake and you're like, man, we're hammering them over here, you bet I'm going to come over there and fish. I'm not the type of guy that's like, oh, well, I'm just going to stay over here and not catch fish. Hell with that. I'm out there to catch fish. And if my buddy's like, hey, we're on them, you best get over here, I'm coming.
That's it. That's it, man.
I'm coming. You bet on it. So don't get offended when I'm, lined up 100 yards to your freaking east.
And I'm like, Tub, I'm like that too, man. I don't know no stranger, man. For everyone that's wanting to be friendly to me on the river, hey, I'm telling you, man, I'll let you in on whatever I know, help you out any way I can. That's the only way you can gain a lot of respect and give it back, for sure.
Tub says, I'm so friendly out there, I talk to the fish. My son gives them treats. I'm like, damn, these fish love you.
Man, they're good in that hyper after Jackson feeds them.
Yeah, Ryan fished Friday night. He got to fish that damn cold front. And I had said, I think I posted that day somewhere. It's like, yeah, we got a cold front. I keep fish because I got freaking kids sports. But, man, today would be a good day to catch a big one. And he went out there and nailed some good ones. So, catching big fish this time of year is not easy. But if you're going to get one, fishing around those fronts usually is your best chance of getting one in Texas. And he proved that. And I was like, damn, he got him some.
That's it.
I've been marking some good fish up there, Ryan. I mean, we marked one over 60, I mean, it's record class fish. We marked some 50s, and a lot of good fish up there. They just weren't biting. I mean, we caught a bunch of eaters. We got a 30 the weekend before when we fished the live. I mean, we fished up there. I was showing the graph pics, and we were going over some freaking tanks, man. I mean, we probably went over 4 or 5 50 plus. We saw one that was probably over 60. I never got a bite from the big fish that night. We caught 5 in the teens, and I think 15 or so fish between 3 and 10 pounds. It's just, you got to be there when they're biting. It's a real short bite window in Texas right now. So I think big fish probably only feed maybe 30 minutes out of the day right now in Texas. You got to be there when they're eating. He said first time on the lake all summer. Well, you picked the right day because we had an unseasonably cold front blow through here last weekend, and it was nice. It was nice, overcast, cool, just way different than 103 that we've been hitting every day now. So,
man, I tell you, that's some hot stuff, bro. It is. I like I said, man. They're talking about us cooling off just a little bit on Friday. I believe we got a little front coming through, so I'm looking forward to Saturday on Santee. Hopefully, we can definitely put a couple of fish in the boat.
So Rich said he's looking at all the raffle slots paid since 6 p.m. He came up with 6,100. It's like, holy crap.
Nice, man. Nice.
And we still got about 2K more in raffles. And I mean, we got it rolling. I may go ahead and hit some of my other people up for donations for prizes to see if we can up this a little more.
Heck yeah. That's awesome, brother. I tell you, man, this has been another great show, Chris. This we've opened up a lot of talks tonight and went into a lot of good details and stuff, man. And I hope it really helps a lot of people out there on what we've gone over tonight, for sure.
We do some night fishing. We did a night fishing trip on our last one of our Slime Show episodes 2 weeks ago. That was a night trip. We fished late afternoon / night. We caught a bunch of fish. We couldn't get the big ones to bite. We were on them, boy. I mean, we were on them thick. They were man, I was showing the graph. It looked like a damn winter pattern, but up in 16 feet. Needed a stick of dynamite to make the big ones bite. They just didn't want to play. We had one that ripped the freaking rod holder, spun that thing around backwards, which, I know that's a good fish. It was a 40 plus, at the very minimum, it was a 40. Just came unbuttoned, I don't know.
Man. Them things happen, man.
October is painful. It is. Tub, you didn't learn nothing.
Oh, man.
Patrick says he caught 3 over 25. It was very nice. He fished that cold front. 3 over 25. His buddy got a 38. I got a feeling if I'd have gone up in that section where I was marking all those big fish, I would have had a great chance of catching some of those really big ones. This time of year, I'm happy with the 30. I mean, come October, that's just a regular old fish. But right now, it's a giant. Give me one, man. Give me one.
It's hard for you, isn't it, Chris? I could tell, man. You're sitting
It
there
is, because I see all these damn river guys kicking ass, and I'm like, man, just come on, man. Come on. I can't wait for my turn. Give me work, I can't wait.
Hell, I can't wait until my turn, bro. I got to get out on the water, man.
Matt Mosley's back in, says, good luck this weekend, Jamie.
Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it, man. We can't wait to get to Santee Cooper. You never know down there how that's going to turn out. There's some really great fishermen down there, and this is just a coffee can tournament that they're putting on. I'm going to ease down there. I wasn't really planning on fishing it, and decided today, hey man, why not? Before I go out of town, let's ease down there.
Fun.
Let's go ahead. That's it. Have fun. So it's been a while, so I can't wait to get the Pro Cat back in the water and get these fishing poles and get all this Carolina lake weights stuff to work.
I'm going to get back into the tournament fishing probably this year. I think we're probably going to go fish with Patrick up at Lake Arrowhead. Like to do some trips with Matt Mosley if he wants to go fish with me. Problem is our big tournament's all left Texas. We have just the small tournament trails, and our best tournament trail is the Central Texas Catfish Trail, which the lakes, I don't fish the lakes, so I would need to go down there and pre-fish one a day before, because I'm not going to lose and give my money up. If I'm going to fish any of these tournaments, I want to have a chance to win the thing. And for me to go to a lake that I have never fished, I need at least one solid day of just scanning with not even fishing, just looking. Just want to go look around the entire lake.
That's it.
And most of our lakes, I can do a tour of the lake in one day and scan all the areas that I would look. I feel confident in finding good fish if I could just have a day of scanning.
And who knows? We're talking about a couple of things for next year, trying to figure out some things, man. Who knows? You might see us on a boat together. You never know, brother. Yeah.
So Juan says we got a trip with Mosley that with Patrick and Matt that Juan won on a raffle for the fall. So, I know that lake pretty good. It's Matt's home lake. I know the lake well. He's got it really dialed in for that fall, early winter bite. So if we're going to go hit that lake, that's the time to go hit it. It turns on in October. As soon as the lake turns over, Texoma turns on. And then it really fires up in November. It's probably our best November lake. So we should probably go hit it in November. We'll probably get at least a 50 with, probably some 40s and some 30s mixed in, and with the chance of, a record class fish. Now, those aren't, you don't catch a bunch of giant fish out of that lake, but they do have them because we've caught some. So, and Matt's fun to fish with. He's one of my good fishing buddies. We fish a lot together. We make a good team.
Heck yeah, we got to get Matt some more of those rigs down there to him and get some down there to test them out real soon. I know he's a big fan of the Jesse James rig, so we're going to have to get some more of them down there to him.
And then Juan, I told you, to get the 80, we got to go up there in the springtime. And that's going to be our best chance to get one over 70 up in that area. But if you guys want to have probably about as most epic trip for big blue cats is that you could have in Texas, you got to come with me in February. And man, we'll freaking do some serious damage in East Texas. I'm talking, I mean, me and Matt fished it on a bad day, and we just destroyed them, dude. It was crazy. Y'all got me excited for big fish season. It's coming, boys. About 6 weeks out. Patrick says time and date, Chris, and I'll be there. So, Texoma turns on earlier because it's a little further north, but it's like I'm well connected up there with some really great guys. Some of the guys are in here, like Mosley, and when it turns over, I know because my guide buddies are up there, start hammering them, and that's when we'll go. So you just got to be ready, and we'll hit them on the right weekend. Tub, come on in February, buddy. I guarantee you, you'll have a great time, man. We may not catch many over 60 that time of year, but we will catch a bunch of 40s and 50s. And then maybe like the kicker will be right around 60-ish.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I think we're going to be heading up to Lake Hickory in the end of October for the King Cat up on Lake Hickory. So we're looking forward to that coming up too. Join you in February.
Yeah, any of you guys want to roll down here in February? I'll take off work. We can go fish. I mean, that time of year is just incredible. And even like me and Matt fished on a really terrible day. I mean, we had no wind. It was actually east wind, probably 3 mile an hour east wind. And I mean, we fucking destroyed them, dude. We probably, if we'd have had good wind, we would have probably caught 1,500 pounds of fish.
Wow. Oh, man.
We missed so many fish. We ended up with 650 pounds, a couple 50s, bunch of some 40s, bunch of 30s, fish after fish.
Tub, I'm definitely going to have to get with you. Never been up there before, brother. Definitely got to get up there and see what it's about before that tournament comes through there. And then I guess we head in November to, I guess, the Classic on Santee Cooper.
Yeah, Justin. So I live in Louisville's my home lake, but the last 5 years, we still fish Louisville in the winter, but just not very often. And I mean, it's just there are big fish in it, just not a lot. I mean, me and my son got the lake record 2 years ago on the same day. So there are good fish in there. He got a 72.5 and I got a 70. Same drift. Talk about lucky. And we've hooked one in the 80-pound class range and lost it. So there are some good fish, but it's not like you're going to catch a 50 every trip in Louisville. You got to really be in the perfect situation on the lake. It's more of a 20 to 40-pound class lake with your 40s are going to be your kicker fish for that lake. Whereas when you go up to Texoma, you got a good chance of getting a 50 on a good day. I mean, your kicker fish is a 50. On a good day, you're getting a 60. On a great day, you get a. Last 3 years, we've got one in the 80s. So. Ryan said my boat can be your drift sock. Well, you can jump on my boat anytime, Ryan. And but you're not going to see me you're not going to see me on Louisville a lot. I know you didn't see me much there last year, and the year before you saw me a handful of times. It's a fun fish lake. You know, you catch a bunch of 20s and 30s out of there. And, you know, if you fish it, if that's your main fish lake, your big fish of the, I know you got a 60 last year, but most guys fish their whole life and don't get a 60. Out of that lake, you're really pushing the lake record at 60. So I've fished Tawakoni for years, Justin. Tawakoni's been destroyed, bro. Don't even waste your time. All right, Ryan, if you want to go to East Texas, just go with me. Come jump on the boat. I've got that lake dialed in, bro. I guarantee you we will freaking light that lake on fire. When I'm going down there, it's a guarantee. Even on the worst day, we will light that lake on fire. Yeah, Mosley, Tawakoni is still a good lake. It is not a great lake. I've got some teammates that guide down there 7 days a week, and their big fish of the year is a high 50. So when I used to fish that lake, a 50 was normal. Our big fish of the day would be 260s, 350s, 540s, and and a good chance we get a 70. That is not what that lake is anymore. The lake is freaking destroyed, man. That lake's been done dirty. It's a true testament of what poor lake management is when guys find out there's big fish in there and just do it wrong. That lake's been done wrong. They were hoping that it would be a 100-pound class lake, and the lake record rose every year for years, but all of a sudden it just stopped at 89 pounds, and just now it's just now the big fish of the day, it's like 50, and the guy that fishes it every day may have caught 450s for the year, and that used to catch 450s in a day. So I took it off my list of travel lakes to tell you how bad that lake's been done wrong. I don't even fish it anymore. I fished it one time 2 years ago. Before that, I fished it 3 times. And before that, I fished it almost damn near every weekend in the winter because it was that good. But yeah, all our lakes are going to be destroyed, Tubbs says, is what it's looking like. And the paradigm is shifting. Will it shift fast enough? I don't know. Because a lot of guys that fish rod and reel are pro big fish conservation. But unfortunately, you know, I would consider myself a redneck, but I live in the city, have a different mentality than the guy that lives out in the country who doesn't give a shit, who thinks that he can do whatever he wants, and it doesn't make a difference. It does make a difference. Our best lake is proof that if you don't respect the big fish and you don't respect the fishery, it will be destroyed, and you can't grow these fish back quickly.
Yeah, I know the ball is rolling. We just got to get it to roll a lot faster than what it's going. We just got to go even faster, because if you don't, like you said, man, there's not going to be no big fish left. There really isn't for our next generations, and I can tell you, man, that sucks. It really does. So hopefully this thing can pick up the speed and go even faster, man. So
yeah, I've noticed my home lake, you know, it used to be a really good big fish fishery. It was one of the top 5. You know, if you look back at the old literature from 20 years ago, my home lake was a well-known lake. Now, nobody knows what the hell, you know, my lake's not known at all. You go, guys back east have no idea what Lake Louisville is, but 25 years ago, it was a well-known lake. It's considered one of the best lakes in the country. It's freaking terrible now. If you're going off of that type of number on how good a lake is, it's terrible because it was destroyed. But you know, I don't know if it's going to change fast enough. I do see a change every year it gets a little bit better. But it doesn't take very many guys who are doing it wrong to destroy our lakes.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right, brother. You're right.
Lake Louisville is a party lake, but man, it's a fishing lake too. I mean, there's a gazillion fishermen on it. The thing about blue catfish that's good is that the guys that are rod and reeling them, it's trophy blue cat fishing in Texas is not easy. The problem is the old school guys who are jugging them, where there's not any skill. They just go throw out 25 string of jugs over in this section. Then they move over to that section, throw out another 25 string of jugs. Then they move up into that section, throw out another 25 string of jugs. They're putting out 200 strings. I mean, 200 jugs. It's not legal, but they don't care. And it doesn't take very many of those types of guys who don't really give a crap to really destroy a fishery. I tell guys, man, if I kept all my big fish, I'd ruin these lakes that maybe not Texoma, but these other lakes, I would destroy them if I kept all my fish. So
it's really a shame, man. It really is.
Ryan is in my area, Richard. He's on my home lake, Louisville. So when I'm talking East Texas, it's I usually go fish Lavon or Ray Hubbard, but really I like Lavon. It's a heavily timbered lake, but when the conditions are right, they have to leave that timber, and that's when I hit it.
Hell, Chris, I've seen you go up in the timber for me.
I go up in the timber, and me and Jesse went. I mean, when me and Jesse fished it last, there were trees sticking out of the water, and guys were like, man, I can't believe y'all are up in there. I'm like, I think we did lose a rig, and Jesse actually broke one of my first time I ever broke a Dakota. He broke it up in there, hung up on a tree that was sticking up out of the water. I'm like, we were on his boat, so it might have gone a little different because when I'm on someone else's boat, I let them jockey. Yeah, I'm gonna blame it on Jesse's boat.
Where's Jesse at? Oh man.
Shit.
Chris, for the ones that might be new to the channel, man, where can they watch you maybe doing some lives this year, brother?
I'm going to try to do TikTok this year. I've always done YouTube. And, we were up for live stream of the year 2 years in a row. But, I just decided this last year I was going to focus more on getting my friends out on the lake and catching big fish. And most of the guys I fish with aren't very comfortable on a live stream. Yeah. And it's like I don't want to. It's very awkward to have someone on the boat who won't even look at the camera.
Yeah.
Their back's turned to so I just wouldn't do them. So I went a whole year without doing a live stream until me and you did one, in the summer. So
I know everybody said how much fun, man, that was.
I had a lot of fun. And, I do like fishing live because it's cool to have people there cheering you on when you're catching big fish. And, that's kind of how my son really got popular, was people seeing him break. I mean, I don't know how many records we broke on lives, but he broke record. I mean, it was just record after record after record. It's like, damn, this is one lucky little dude. So we kind of got addicted to that for a while. And then I thought, well, I got all these new guys and I'm doing vet trips and they're not real comfortable. But I thought this year it's going to be more, I'm going to gear it more towards my son. I'm going to get him back. I'm going to focus more on him again this year instead of everybody else. I'm just going to be selfish, man. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to make it about him this season. And he's going to be catching all the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. It's going to be him reeling them in.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait because I know it's going to be a lot of fun. I know there's going to be 800, 900 days for y'all, man. I can't wait to see it. And like I said, I've been talking to you more and more about TikTok, and everybody knows myself and Rebecca, we've been over on TikTok a lot more than we have YouTube. TikTok has treated us real good. YouTube is YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube's difficult, you know. I think one thing I think that I see that about you, TikTok is kind of, I don't know. There's just a different crowd of people that you don't know, and I believe that YouTube is kind of it's a bunch. It's I don't know. The YouTube deal is kind of a bunch of weirdos. I'll be honest, man. The YouTube fishing community is kind of a bunch of weird dudes. And, most of my fishing friends, like all these dudes in here, are regular salt of the earth type guys like you, Jamie.
Yep.
I feel much more at home and much more kinship with guys that are like our chat. You know, it's all just regular dudes that, maybe some are tournament anglers, some are just fun fishermen. This whole YouTube deal. And I told you when I started YouTube, I didn't do it to try to get a popular channel. Yeah. I did it to record what me and my son were doing so that I can go back at a certain point. But then I started seeing how guys enjoyed me sharing our success, and I like helping guys. So I made it about, trying to help people.
And that's why we enjoy doing this show. We actually bring a show that we wanted to be totally different, where we can break down techniques of fishing and actually bring it to let's just say what we thought it should be. That's what it needs to be, man. It really is. But that's a whole nother show in itself. We could get into that and go from there. But can't wait, man. Do a lot of stuff this year. Like I said, I know guys, if y'all don't have us, myself and look up Carolina Lake Weights on TikTok. We have a lot of lives that we do on there. We might not go into much details. Y'all see us do a lot of building the drifting weights, a lot of the rigs. We talk about, a lot of different stuff. We do talk about a lot of fishing where y'all can ask us questions, and it feels more one-on-one. So definitely look us up on Carolina Lake Weights, guys, on TikTok. And we do have 130 some videos on YouTube under Carolina Lake Weights. Go over there, look us up. We're probably going to be adding a video or two over there very soon. But we are mostly now on TikTok is mostly where we do a lot of our lives.
Yeah, I noticed TikTok, it's easier to get people to watch. One thing I liked about YouTube is I had a pretty good following of what I consider to be real anglers. I didn't have really the YouTube crowd, which, we don't have any of the YouTube crowd in here, so I can go ahead and say it. The YouTube crowd can't fish with a lick, guys. They all just want to talk to each other, and they're not real fishermen. Now, there are some guys that can fish. I'm not going to say everybody, but this right here is a fishing community. And I told Jamie when we do this show, it's going to be about the fish. And it's going to be about catching fish. And we want to help our guys. We want to help our teammates. Not to be an a-hole, but I can be an a-hole.
No, never, Chris. Not a. We just break it down.
I get along great with the guys that are fishermen. We're like-minded. We got a strong passion for catching blue catfish. I don't care what level that you're on. You can be a guy that just started 2 weeks ago who's just really fired up and wants to catch them, or a guy that wants to that's been doing it for 30 years, tournament angler, a company owner like yourself. I'm friends with a lot of company owners, tournament guys, regular father and son dudes, and most of my friends get along great with any of my other friends. So people like Richard Green, Tub and Tackle, Juan Tienda, Mike Mitchell, any of you guys, Ryan Smith, any of you guys are going to get along great with any of my other friends. I can guarantee it. It would be like you're meeting your high school buddy to hang out and go fish with. And so there is a kinship because we're very like-minded, even though we come from different walks of life. And that's what our show, I think, what makes us a little bit different. What I like to think, anyway.
That's it, brother.
We got
That's
good
it,
guys.
man.
We got a bunch of good guys, man.
That's it. That's it. And I can tell you, man, the show has actually grown quite a bit, and we appreciate each and every one of you guys. You know, we enjoy doing what we do every Wednesday night, and it's a lot of fun and interacting with all of our people. I mean, y'all guys are the best out there, guys. Y'all support us from day one, and we do really appreciate each and every one of you coming in here every Wednesday night and talking with us. We really enjoy it.
Yep. I think that's the thing that's hard to really put a measure on is all the friendships we've made and seeing guys and talking to guys and being able to connect people together. Right now, we got some cool stuff going on with Carolina Lakeweights. We're partnering with people that some people would say that's your competitor. Why are you part? You know, but I think it's cool because we're going to help them and they're going to help us. And, you know, the more and more guys like us can kind of join together and help lift each other up, you're going to find that that's not really the norm in today. It's very selfish type of world that we live in, man. It's what can you do for me? So it's a breath of fresh air. I want to say thank you guys for being my friend, for supporting us. Say thank you to Jamie for being, for being who you are, man.
Yeah,
we were magnetized towards each other from the very first time we talked. I can say the same thing about everything. Every single guy in here is the exact same type of guy. We're all about them fish. We're about helping other people, lifting our friends up. And that's the number one thing that I probably love about our catfishing family. I call this kind of a family. So Chris Wheeler said there's more snakes than the zoo in the fishing community. And I agree, man.
It's a tough one out there.
Here's what I've noticed, Chris, and y'all can agree with me or you don't. This is just my take on it. But when I hear all these guys saying, we just need to all come together, I'm like, every time I hear a guy say that, they are the most divisive person that's against other people that I've ever freaking met. So, I mean, I'll tell you what I'm about. I'm about like-minded people. If you're not like me, I don't freaking care. I'm not going to probably put too much effort towards you. But my like-minded friends, Matt Mosley, Chris Wheeler, Juan Tienda, Mike Mitchell, all you guys are normal, regular old salt of the earth type dudes. Richard Green, all good guys. Ryan Smith, Tub and Tackle.
Everybody in chat, man. I mean, man, wow.
All guys that I could freaking hang out with, that I probably the type of guy I hung out with in high school. It's the type of guy I would have over at my house for dinner. It's the type of guy that I'd have out on my boat to fish. And it's cool. So I know we got off onto a tangent about loving you guys, but appreciate everything, man. This is really something that I would have never even thought would have been possible, but this is one of the best parts about it. So
that's it.
Jamie, you got anything you want to, any new stuff you want to promote before we get out of here? Or?
Well, man, I just want to say, guys, thank you from myself, Rebecca, here at Carolina Lakeweights for all the support, all the love, man. We've given our life to the catfishing world. We put everything else on hold to do what we do, and it's been one hell of a ride, man. And we've had a lot of support, and I just want to thank each and every one of you for that. And on that words, we're not slowing down, guys. We're working hard day in, day out. We're out in this shop 3 a.m., 4 a.m., constantly on the computer. Hardly just trying to put forth the effort to better Carolina lake weights in so many different ways. So with that being said, man, we've got a lot of new things coming. We've got some new stuff that we got a new drifting weight now that we're offering also here at Carolina Lake Weights to try to open that.
I guarantee you, though, Jamie, it ain't going to outproduce that one, bro.
I could probably tell you, you're probably right, brother. The OG, man, you're right. But what we want to do is just give everybody, hey, we're going to have what you want, regardless. We're going to open the door up. But, we've got these new things here now, 2, 3, 4 ounces. But not only that, we've got some other new stuff that's on the way. But one thing that we're most proud about is, like I said, the brand new 1 through 10 ounce, 100% lead drifting weights. We've busted our ass to hurry up, get the molds, pour these bad boys, and give y'all guys the best products we can. We're not slowing down. Like I said, we're constantly improving. I think now these are Chris, the 3.0s now we call them.
3.0.
Yep. So guys, a lot more flexibility, making things even better, man. It's what we're about. So like I said, we're excited what's to come. Y'all just sit back, hold on, because it's going to be a hell of a ride. I promise you.
Yeah, we ain't stopping here. I like how y'all keep improving, and not just going to sit here and say, "Oh, this is the greatest," because it is a successful product, and the whole reason that people like the dragging weight is because you don't lose them like you lose other ones, and they look similar, but they're not. I can guarantee you, there is a major difference in them than others, but beyond that, you and Rebecca are awesome people, and that makes me want to be part of it. So I appreciate y'all allowing me to be part of it.
We love it, brother. We love it. And like I said, we're not happy. We're not going to sit around. We're not going to get stale. It's always going to be, forward and do the best we can do. That's for sure.
Yep. So, guys, appreciate all y'all stopping in.
And guys, we won't see you next Wednesday night, but we will see you.
We're off next Wednesday. Jamie's going to be in Disney World.
I might even do a couple of TikTok lives here and there. Who knows? You never know.
All right. Well, I'll be watching Jackson play football. We got soccer this weekend, but here's the bad thing. He's double booked for soccer and football, so he can't even practice with the soccer team, but they're like, well, he's really good, so he can just come to the games. I'm like, I hate for him to be that kid, but it is what it is, man. Kids' sports are all intertwined now. So
that's it.
Anyway, guys, we'll be back when we can. We won't be here next Wednesday. We'll be here the Wednesday after that. If y'all got any ideas for shows y'all want to see, let us know. We'll probably do one on the fall bite coming up soon. So appreciate everybody stopping in. Richard says he'll be coming in butt naked. No dogs, no wife. Let's fish.
Oh man, I love it.
Well, Richard, I'll bring you something to cover you up with. But guys, tight lines. God bless.
Thank y'all so much.
Out.
Later.